Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Live in the color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. And today we welcome a very special guest. I've been wanting to have this guy on the show for the longest time, and cool enough, our schedules lined up this very weekend, the last weekend of the summer. He's the one, the only Tyjoonbugsfilms. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Thank you for having me.
Hey, anytime. You're more than welcome. Ty's been one of my earliest supporters that there ever was. And, you know, I was super thrilled when he agreed to come on. And I was like, hey, originally we were going to do Friday 13th a few weeks ago, but scheduling didn't line up. And instead, we found today's date, and we're going to be talking all things about Jaws. Yes. So we're super excited about that. Of course, I got a bunch of getting to know you questions. If everybody doesn't know Tyjoonbugsfilms already, but we got a couple people in the house. I know somebody who you've collaborated with quite a bit. The Master of Fear, Devin, is here. What's up, Devin?
Hey, Devin.
King Negor's in the house. Yeah. And Amanda Rodriguez is in the house. Amanda, yes, I shaved. Finally, I'm off strong blood thinners. So thankfully, I have reduced those so I could go ahead and shave. Got a haircut. Shave my face, and I guess I feel 10 years younger. I don't know. And Ty, you're still rocking the beard, bro.
Yeah, and if I get it any longer, I might try to go for like ZZ Top or something.
Dude, you could nail ZZ Top. You'd be amazing, ZZ Top. That boy too clean with it. Yeah, hell yeah, man. It was. You know, Ty, I had never grown facial hair that much, like very little over my life, and then when that happened, I was like, fuck, I'm scared to shave. And I decided to just not shave. And it was so much. I looked slightly Amish, and I don't know. It just didn't work for me at all. I don't know. I can't grow a good mustache like you or most people, but I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm going to just take it all off. And now I'm rocking it.
Well, there's a little corner right above my lip, but like where the like your nostrils are. You had that little line thing right there. I don't know what it's called, but I can't grow my mustache like right there. Or my mustache usually never connects to my beard properly, so I always have to kind of adjust it too.
So I mean, I guess it's an imperfect system, right? I mean, that's how it goes sometimes. Hello, I just got done watching John Carpenter's Pro-Life, which is honestly one of my favorite episodes of Masters of Horror. Aiden, welcome to the show, good brother. I like the John Carpenter episode. Cigarette Burns is definitely my favorite of the two. Yeah,
they're pretty good.
Yeah, especially Pro-Life is pretty underrated. As I really like Ron Perlman as like the crazed father. I thought he was really, really good. Your beard is immortalized in Summertime Slash in season 1. Yeah, no, it is. That was the last thing I recorded, Corey, with the beard on. Well, actually, no, I did the horror roundtable with the beard, but that was it. This is the end of the beard. So absolutely wild. It's good. It's nice. I have a draft now. But Ty, good brother, I want to ask you a couple of getting to know you questions, even though I know everybody mostly knows you on my stream, but I do like to do this with all my first-time guests. First question, Tyjoonbugsfilms, you can have dinner with any two horror celebrities or just celebrities, any two, living or dead. Who are you going with, and where are you eating?
Okay, I'd probably just take honestly Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi and probably just take them to since Bela, you know, probably take them. I don't know any Hungarian restaurants, so probably just some sort of Italian restaurant or something close to some, you know, and maybe we'll have some spaghetti or something. I know he really loved goulash, but apparently, so I'd go with Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi and take him. Assuming my bank account likes me, then I'd probably go with some sort of Italian restaurant. So
that sounds fantastic. What's your Italian go-to? Are you a big pasta guy, big chicken, chicken parm guy? What do you?
What I really like is an authentic Italian pizza.
Square, triangle, or are you talking grandma, Sicilian? What you talking?
Sicilian, probably.
Sicilian, okay. And are you a corner Sicilian, or are you the middle?
At that point, pizza's pizza. So
yeah, no, I agree with that completely.
As it tastes good, I'm good. And
yeah, absolutely. So I also want to ask you this, and I know probably in the ballpark of this, but I don't know the answer. Top 5 favorite films ever.
Number 1 is The Searchers. Number 2, probably Lord of the Rings, and they're all one movie, because it's a 3-act structure of Lord of the Rings. So
Yes.
so Lord of the Rings. So maybe that's cheating, but it's all considered one movie.
Not cheating. It's your list.
Yeah. Raiders Lost Ark. And then probably Dracula, 1931. And number 5, I'm trying to think of what I said on my list. Probably then like Ben-Hur, because I did a list on my channel, so I was trying to go back to remember that one. But usually those are usually my top 5. So The Searchers, Lord of the Rings, Raiders Lost Ark, Ben-Hur, and then whatever I said for number 5, I can't remember now. So.
Yeah, no. I also wanted to ask, how did you exactly get into film? Like, was there one film, one movie memory, one night that you remember that like spark plugged you falling in love with movies? Because I know you're not just a horror guy. I know you actually are like a film fucking historian in a lot of ways. You know your film on every single genre, base, front, old school, new school, middle school, whatever. You know it all. So I would like to know, what was the jumping pad point, the launch pad point for you being a film fan?
Honestly, I mean, I would rent. I would, from my library at the school I went to, had those books from the Universal Monsters. They were in an orange font. They were hardcover books, and it told all about the history of Frankenstein, or told all about the history of Dracula, and all about King Kong, all about Godzilla. I don't know if anybody else remembers these books, but they were hardback. They usually had a black and white photo of said monster, and they were all in an orange font. And it was a series of books this guy put out, and I would rent those from the library, and I would read them. And the Universal Monsters were actually one of my first loves for movies, and that kind of made me want to watch them at Blockbuster. And then I would go to, watch them on Turner Classic Movies and see Robert Osborne talk about them, and then Turner Classic Movies and AMC, when AMC actually showed film documentaries, and Turner Classic Movies even showed film documentaries, and I would watch those documentaries over and over again. So, and then that's one of the reasons why The Searchers is my favorite movie. It was one of those first movies that I watched, and I remember being mesmerized on the screen. I remember just, it kind of clicked that somebody made this, so.
Yeah, I hear you completely. Movie making can be so magical when you think about it that way. Like thinking about, okay, how was this shot set up, and how did the story structure come here, and why this angle, why that angle, and then you think about actors and actresses and their performances and what they bring to the table, and that leads me actually to my next question: favorite actor, favorite actress? Do you have a favorite of either? It doesn't have to just be one. You can name multiple ones as well. Also, Devin says, I look like my younger self. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I have a baby face. So once I shaved, I lost 10 years.
I would probably say, my favorite, one of my favorite actors is, Clark Gable.
Great pick.
Well, I mean, I love how he, and I like him as an actor and as a man, because I've told the story on streams before, but it helps to hear the stuff in person. Clark Gable was an actor, as we know, in the 1930s, who did not stand for anything, that was racist or anything. I hate to go here, but he, on the set of Gone with the Wind, there was colored bathrooms on set, and then there was white bathrooms. And so when he saw that, because he was actually talking to a black actor who was just an extra in the film, And he said, "Listen, how it's lovely talking to you. I got to go make a phone call." So they found out later that Clark Gable was threatening to walk off the picture unless they get rid of. We're gonna have bathrooms for everybody, no separate bathrooms. And he stood up and he said, "Because if they don't get rid of these, I'm gonna go to the Gossip Press and leak this." Because he was calling his lawyer and his agent, and said that they can go hire Gary Cooper.
Wow.
And Clark Gable, there was some guy even messing around with Shirley Temple. He was being weird. And Clark Gable caught wind of it. And, at that time, Clark Gable was the highest paid actor. And so they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's Clark Gable. What are you doing here?" He says, "I'm looking for so-and-so." And Clark Gable sucker punches him, gives him, and within one punch, knocks this guy out and gives him they said not even a black eye. He gave him a purple eye.
Wow.
And he said, "Leave Shirley alone," and walks away. And so that's what, the more and more I read about him, it's like, man, I like you as an actor, but I respect you more as a man because, favorite actresses. I gotta go. I gotta put looks aside here. So sometimes.
For me, it's Bette Davis, so I have to put looks aside for that too. But I think she's the greatest actress of all time. And while you think, we got a couple comments. Joonbug and classic old films are practically one and the same. I agree with that completely, Devin. Smacked by the Mac is in the Heezy. What up, Grande and June? What's up, Smacked by the Mac? Glad to see you in the graveyard tonight. Grande's the sauce, skin glowing, pocket silly, Dr. Pepper, White Castle. Hella yeah, bro. Last Saturday, I had 10 cheeseburgers from White Castle and a sack fry. It was fucking fantastic. Coupons rule. Smack Mac, Drippy Mac. Hell yeah, absolutely.
See, I'm more of a Joan Crawford fan, so.
Oh, shit. We want to fight.
Yeah.
I love Joan Crawford, too. Honestly, I like, to me, Bette Davis was just such a.
Oh, yeah.
And like, to make me believe that, too, because, like, I know me and you are big believers in, like, screen presence. And Bette Davis wasn't a beautiful woman by any means, but she brought so much to the table. She really did. She brought an energy. She brought a charisma. I don't know, man. Bette Davis was a fantastic actress, no matter what part of her career you look at. Joan Crawford's great, too, though. That's a great pick. If she is
the more and more I think about it, I'm going to go with somebody who really, like, she died really young in her career. She died in the late 30s. But I'm going to go with Jean Harlow.
Ooh, I like it.
She did not die so young. She would have been on that level of Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. I mean, she was actually, not many people know this, she was actually cast as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. But then she died during production, and so they had to kind of scramble to find somebody, and then ended up finding Vivian Lee. But
what are your thoughts on Vivian Lee? I think aside from Gone with the Wind, slightly overrated personally, but
yeah, no, I feel that way too. Like, besides Gone, like, I've seen her in other stuff. Like, I saw her in Cleopatra. I think it's Cleopatra and Caesar, because I'm a big fan of the Cleopatra films that they make.
No, I always remember the Elizabeth Taylor one, the 4-hour dud. Elizabeth Taylor, who I love. I love Elizabeth Taylor. She'd be one of my favorite actresses too.
Well, Elizabeth Taylor's great too. But Vivian Lee, she plays Cleopatra like a dumb blonde. That's the best way I could describe it. She's not even blonde in the movie, So it's just and you have Claude Rains as Caesar, which I'm like, I just can't buy it. So besides Gone with the Wind, I think she is overrated, and plus she was kind of I think a lot of it was that she was really they said that she has had a lot of issues too. So
she was nutty in real life. I know, like, Streetcar Named Desire is a film a lot of people like. I don't know why I can't get into that film. Like, no disrespect to Tennessee Williams. I know he was a great writer, but he was a great tragedy writer. The problem with that movie for me is there's nobody to fucking root for. It's such a it's like, I don't feel bad. I don't feel sympathetic for Stella for going back with Brando, who beats the shit out of her. And I don't really feel that bad. I know Vivian Lee, some horrible shit happens to her in that movie, but it's like, it's almost like a lot of it she brought upon herself. So I don't know. With her, I'm up in the air.
Like early Brando, like the On the Waterfronts, the Streetcar Named Desire. I mean, like the only thing I really like from like early Brando in that era is The Wild One. So
that's a great movie. I wonder, are you like? There's a few actors and actresses I find underrated, and I didn't mean to go down too far down this road, but I like talking about this with you because you're one of few that like all these old classic actors like me. Judy Holliday, do you think she could have been on the level of a Joan Crawford, Bette Davis, had she not died so young? Because I really love Judy Holliday, of course, from Born Yesterday. She won Best Actress. I absolutely think she's a great actress.
I think she could. I think she easily could have. Like a lot of those stars back then, you know. I mean, I think she could have easily. I mean, she does have that screen presence that, you know, you are more drawn to. I mean, she just, you know, so I think she easily could have. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I like her a lot. I think her and William Holden in that movie, William Holden's another actor I find super underrated. I just love William Holden.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He's great. It's just great. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people like, and me included, I like films from the 70s. That's probably my favorite era of film. But I love looking back in the old days, like 30s and 40s and 50s, and like seeing the actors and actresses that worked at that time and filmmakers really coming into their own. You know, I really like that era as well. It's really fun to go back and watch. And, you know, it's interesting to see all the stars that they had because it was just so immense. And, you know, that the business of Hollywood was so much different at that time. Like, in one movie, you'd have so many characters. You'd have one guy who would play the cop in one movie, and in the next movie, that same actor would play the judge, and in the next movie, he'd play the neighbor. You know, like that. They found a way for all actors to get positions and to get paid, and I think it was nice, personally. What do you think?
The character actors, you know, back then, like, had more of a, you know, of a like a special niche to them. You know, like one of them that really comes to mind, Walter Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
He had his voice was injured in World War I because he's lucky to be alive because of the story. He breathed in mustard gas.
Shit.
Damaged his vocal cords, and then he just because of like how, I guess he also got into something, and like I think the mustard gas also affected his teeth and everything, and so like he naturally, like, and by the time he was like in his early 30s, he sounded like an old man. So he always played like old men, you know, and for the rest of his career, basically, and not just because how he sounded, but like usually the character actors always had like something about them, like, you know.
Yeah, no, and like you make a good point about that with veteran actors and stuff like that. Like a guy I always liked, and another war veteran I know, Claude Atkins, was a World War II veteran, and when he came back, he really wanted to be a lead actor, and they mostly gave him. That's the one thing about the business at the time I didn't like. Whereas you had your you know, Spencer Tracy's of the world, who was fantastic, and, you know, your Frederick Marches of the world. Guys like Claude Atkins took a back seat. They didn't really have the independent scene where Claude Atkins could be the lead. You know, that's the one thing I don't like about stuff like that. But I think where their work shine was television work. And I really like Claude Atkins, and he's in quite a few Twilight Zone episodes I really like, whether it be Monsters on Maple Street or The Little People. I think he was a really underrated actor. There were so many, like, it was such a different era, you know? And like, I remember back on the Frankenstein trilogy episode I did, me and you were talking about when Boris Karloff and Basil Rathbone, they went to bat for Bela Lugosi because they were jipping him in pay. Like, I don't think that would happen today at all. I think it's so much more of a, I want to make the star money, and I don't care what anybody else makes. And I don't know. I think the business loses a little bit of its luster when that's the mentality.
Well, you have to think about it this way. Sorry if the dog is barking in the background.
It's okay. It's all right, man.
So I'm gonna hold on here.
Take your time. Take your time. We'll read some comments in the meantime. Blasphemy, she was a cutie. Corey, come on. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Not the ugliest woman in the world, but like definitely not a gorgeous actress, I would say. Okay. You guys are talking smack by this Max Sauce going viral. Hell yeah, I hope so. Who knew that you're shaving your face would make you look like you did when you first started YouTube? Your age just disappeared. You do. Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't think I looked that much younger, but if you feel that way, I am very flattered. I will keep shaving. I promise. No more, extreme blood thinners. Thankfully. What were you saying?
Well, so yeah, we were, like a lot of actors. You have to think about it this way. Hollywood right now is in a transition, just like in the early '70s. I'm saying early '70s, pre-Star Wars, because at that time, we were looking to the younger people on like what market they like. If they want to make a movie about Coca-Cola, they would make a movie about Coca-Cola because the old Hollywood bosses are retiring and they're transitioning into other things. And the reason why I say that is because the 1930s and 50s, we had the Xanax, the Louis B. Mayers, et cetera, and then they would retire, and none of their kids wanted to take it over, so they would have to sell to marketing people to market films, and market people just don't understand movie making, and so that's one of the big reasons why like we just don't have like stars like that anymore, and and that's one of the reasons why, like, I think the 1930s and 50s and even the 40s are remembered, and then we have the 80s that are remembered very well because people who actually knew how to make movies were in charge of making movies. So
yes, and the creativity element was there. That's the big thing with the 80s. Like so many creative ideas were brewing and coming to fruition, and 9 times out of 10, it seemed like they were being executed on well. Whereas now it's like, let's bring Ghostbusters back. Oh, let's bring even now. Let's bring Spider-Man villains back from 15 years ago. Let's bring this back. Let's bring that back. There's really a starvation for creativity. Whereas in the 70s and 80s, I felt like that was booming. The creativity was just, great.
And there was great movies post Star Wars, but Star Wars was the one that made people actually go back to the movies. People always went to the movies, but what I'm saying is that I think. And this, like you said that when I remember in the stream that you don't know if the magic could ever come back in movies. I think that's how you bring back the magic. You have a movie, not necessarily, but that makes you feel, wow, because like I like superhero movies, but like they're basically the same story over and over again, So
yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. Like, and I don't get me wrong. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I'll probably see that new one. But I agree. It's just, what else do we got? Can we do anything new be brought to the table? And that's kind of what I hope happens eventually. But as of right now, it's just what can we pick next? And I think it's kind of lousy.
And here's the thing: like people have brought this up to me before, but like, yes, in comic books, there's so many stuff you could do besides Thanos. But the fact is, Avengers Endgame technically reached the highest box office of all time. The only reason I say technically is because Disney cheated because they extended the release date so they could get that. So that they cheated. But when you reach the top of Everest, where else do you have to go after you reach that pinnacle?
It's exactly. There's only one way to go, and that's down.
Exactly. Well, so there's a reason why, like Loki, WandaVision, and What If, and Black Widow, they all flopped. I mean, they're considered a disappointment. It's because I think a lot of people are getting tired of maybe not necessarily the younger people that are watching the stream here, but I think the average public is getting very tired of superhero movies, and I'm not trying to dog on superhero movies, but it's marketing research. Marketing. People are studios are listening more to marketing people, and the only thing those people know how to do is calculate data, and data does not sell tickets. So
No, it doesn't. But they know their demographic, and they know who's going to be in the theater before they even drop their first teaser trailer or leak their trailer, which is a bunch of bullshit. Oh, this leaked. I'm like, ain't nothing leaked. It's a Hoover Dam of fucking water that leaked. All right, it's not like a well kept secret or this or that. I just think I don't know. I agree with you. I'm kind of sick of it. Same thing with horror. I'm sick of I don't like. Listen, I'm sure the new Candyman will be fine. I haven't heard a word about it yet. I know there's some screenings going on right now as we speak. But like, I saw Candyman in the 90s. I love the first Candyman. I saw the original Halloween. But like, how long can we beat a horse till it's dead? Like, how many sequels until it's enough? And that's the Candyman, Halloween, and whatever the next one will be, whether it be Hellraiser, whether it be, I know the Friday 13th, that's going to be in limbo for a long time because of the lawsuits, but it's nonstop. And it's just, can anything be brought new? And I don't know. So far, the answer is no. And if it is, they bring that person who brought something new and say, hey, reboot this. And there's no room for the filmmakers now to grow. It's just,
I'm not even looking forward to the Candyman remake. And I know it's a sequel, but like, that's another trend that I don't like is that, when it's, let's call this Halloween, but it's a sequel, I get it, but, I get it to an extent, but like the whole Candyman remake thing, I'm going to call it a remake because if they're too lazy to add a subtitle, then I'm too lazy to call it, a sequel. So,
yeah, no. And like, the only thing with Candyman, I will say that the sequels that already are out there aren't the greatest. So it definitely doesn't have much to live up to, but I don't even know if Candyman's one of those films you ever should have made a sequel to. Like the first Candyman it's a great movie. I don't know if I would have tried to make a sequel because the sequels they made, I mean, people were like, are you going to do a Candyman show? I was like, honestly, no. I mean, the first one I would love to talk about, but Candyman 2, I always found dull. And Candyman 3, I like the lead because she was beautiful, but other than that,
I mean, the Candyman movies, like, they're like, the first one, I mean, probably one of the best, really, honestly, like, I don't know if it'd be in my top 100, but maybe like my top 150. It's a good movie and everything. And, it's, I mean, it's a very impactful story. And Candyman 2 and 3, they're not bad. I've seen much worse, but
sure,
they're not the best in the world. So like, it's just like, it would be kind of like spend like 2 hours talking about Candyman 1 and then, oh yeah, the sequels.
It's something. There's something about. Sometimes there's more to say about a bad sequel than there is to say about a flat sequel, and that's the kind of the deal with Candyman 2, especially Candyman 2. I find the movie to be very flat. In the first one, it was always you, Helen, and then the sequel, it's like, oh no, actually, it was always this bitch. Like, no, like they did never pull that trick over my eyes. Personally, there's room now for everything. The industry is set up to capitalize on how easily 90s kids buy into nostalgia. That's why the biggest draws are adaptations and remakes. I understand that, and I know they're going to make money with these things. I know at the end of the day, it does come down to being a business, but can't there be something else there for the people that want to see something new and original? That's my thing. I think you can still tell interesting stories with superheroes. They're not done. They just need people who will go outside of the box with them. Okay, hey, I agree with that. Candyman 2 is just an excuse to visualize the backstory as if our imagination wasn't enough. Yeah, no, I think that's the worst Candyman movie. There's the second one. Even the third one, at least the lead is entertainingly good looking. I also don't think original ideas are done because I have some original ideas for stories. I just want to tell them. I just don't have the resources to tell them. Yeah, that's the thing. The people that do have these great up and coming good stories either aren't given the chances, aren't given the money, or a combination of both. And that's like my big gripe with the whole system.
Well, and then you have people say, oh, it's so easy to fund a movie now. Like, go to Kickstarter, Indiegogo, PayPal, whatever else is out there. But like, you have to market that and try to reach that audience. Unless you have like a big, YouTube following and social media following, you're not going to make your money at all. I mean, And I mean, I get it. Like they're trying to appeal to the market, but like that's what I'm saying is that they did this in the early '70s. I think that when honestly these guys get older, they should try to look at better replacements than marketing people to run the studio. Like, and because I mean, it's like George Lucas made the same mistake that he was complaining about, and then because he gave the head of Lucasfilm to his marketing personnel, and again, marketing people just don't know how to make movies.
No.
I mean, they look at the certain market like, okay, people like let's say somebody wanted to make a movie about flaming hot Cheetos because the market wants it. They would make a movie about flaming hot Cheetos. It's I mean, if we don't believe about the whole marketing thing, emojis are popular, and then we get an emoji movie. I mean, so, and every big studio was actually fighting over the rights to make an emoji movie. Like literally, like Paramount was offering this much, Universal was offering this much. I don't even know who ended up getting it because I really don't care. Even Disney was trying to fight to get it. Like every major studio was offering this much to buy the rights to an emoji movie just to get the rights to make an emoji movie, because they knew that it would make money because emojis are big.
It's relatable to the whatever. Like it's, I don't know, man. I lose faith in the world with shit like that. Like I completely just lose faith, and I'm just like, if you're fighting over that movie, that's a problem to me.
I'm gonna keep saying it because this is really what Hollywood needs right now. What they need is, the dreamers and innovators in the industry again, like Walt Disney, the man, not the corporation now, but the man, Walt Disney, and George Lucas before the internet made him a bitter old man.
Yeah, definitely.
And you need innovators again and dreamers again in the actual industry. Like the big technology right now is 4K.
Yeah.
So you have to show a movie in 4K that makes people go, wow. I mean, but trying to actually get into the industry now, I feel like it was, in some ways, it felt like it was a lot easier back in the 80s and 70s because you could just find a camera, raise some money, but now people are so stingy with their money, which I mean you have that right, but like I feel like people were just more like, oh, you want to make this horror movie? Okay, here's the check. It seemed like always.
Yeah. And
now, I've tried to do that, like pitch horror movie ideas to lawyers and doctors. Just took the Evil Dead route. I've actually tried that. Nobody's willing to do that anymore. And this was pre pandemic. So when I've tried to do stuff like that,
it's not easy. It's not like I've wanted to make a movie for so long, man. It's just not easy to get it off the ground. And like now, especially working full time, I don't know where I'll get the time to ever film. Like I'd have to take weeks and weeks and weeks off, or guerrilla filmmaking like George Romero would do back in the 60s when he was making Night of the Living Dead. Like that, it would have to be real guerrilla filmmaking. And I don't know what I could fucking pay people. Like I don't have the luxuries to pay a cast and crew what they're worth. And I would feel bad about that. I would be like, shit, like these people are not working for what they're worth. And I feel like that would definitely eat away personally.
Even Night of the Living Dead, like they did not get, I mean, they pretty much got paid in food pretty much, it seemed like. So.
Yeah. And then what would they film too? They would film Saturdays and Sundays, and they'd all go back to their normal, 9 to 5 jobs Monday through Friday. And that was really how it was. Like in the 60s, I feel like you could get away with that. Now I feel like it's even harder now because finding distribution is harder now, and finding the right and technical equipment to make a film. Like you're saying, 4K camera. Okay, 4K camera. I got to spend crazy money to rent a good film quality 4K camera. And even if I shoot something really good, then I have to find somebody to distribute and pick up the film. It's all a battle in and of itself. Of course, I thought I read this, Corey. Corey said I missed this comment. There's room for everything now. The industry is set up to capitalize on how easily 90s kids bought into nostalgia, though. That's why the biggest draws and adaptations are in remakes. Okay, no, I thought I read that.
Yeah, I thought you did too.
Yeah, I don't know. He said I missed the comment. I'm not sure. But
hey, Corey, maybe you just need to turn up the hearing aid a little bit.
Woo, turn it up, King, turn it up. But yeah, I guess we could get into the main topic. I definitely like shooting the breeze with you, man. The future horror roundtables, I'd love to see you come on and join us for sure.
You know, so now that StreamYard finally unblocked me, so
yeah, I wonder why they blocked you the first. That's fucking odd. I saw you were on. I think was it late stream?
I tried to do it on my old computer. I tried to go live on my old computer. I'm still on Windows 7, so
okay.
And then like my phone just, I don't know if it's just the update that happened, but now I can actually do stuff on my phone with StreamYard. So
there you go. That's all you need. Corey's laughing at your comment, by the way. I love it. But
Corey knows I'm teasing him. So
yeah, I know. So we can get right underway with this. This franchise, it's interesting because after the first film, which I love, I mean, the sequels, it'll be very interesting to discuss. And then we will discuss what we would do with a Jaws 5. But it all started in 1975. It all started when Steven Spielberg hit the director's chair and released arguably the biggest summer blockbuster of its time. And that is Jaws. Yes, Jaws from 1975. Probably the quintessential shark movie. And Tyjoonbug, what's your thoughts on Jaws?
I mean, like no film is ever perfect, but like Jaws is one of those movies that is one of those perfect movies. I mean, you could point out flaws in Jaws, but at that point, it's just like you're just grasping at the straws on like the imperfections in it. Like, you're enjoying the characters. It is literally one of those movies that, fate was not on this movie's side.
No.
But Steven Spielberg, because of his, his young energy, that I'm going to make this movie, and I don't care if I drown in the ocean trying. I'm going to make this movie. And he made probably, honestly, like, Spielberg has made good movies, but like to me, like he reached the pinnacle with Jaws, and like some of his other movies just don't match Jaws. Like I think this is honestly his best movie. So
I would agree with that too, and that was going to be one of my questions for you down the road, but we could tackle that right now. For all the all the great movies Steven Spielberg made, and he made his fair share. I mean, Close Encounters, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List. The list goes at The Color Purple. The list, E.T. The list literally goes on forever. He made so many, Indiana Jones. So many fucking fantastic films. But to me, I would agree with that. I think Jaws was the pinnacle. And it really does work against every single thing that you think, because you had actor controversy on the set with Dreyfuss and Shaw. That's become, fable of legend. And of course, the shark, it wouldn't work. It would work. People getting seasick. Everything went wrong. But somehow the movie turned out oh so right. And it's really, I think, number one, it's the like creature feature water movie, like for sure. It's the shark movie. And the funny thing is, even though I think all the stuff with the shark is great, the thing with Jaws that stands out to me above all else, the thing that I think sets this apart as being a great movie, is the three leads. I think Dreyfuss, Shaw, Scheider, absolutely fantastic. Those three guys on the boat and show me the way to go home. You're almost like the fourth person on that boat with them. And it's just a magical film. There's so many great things we can discuss here. What are some of the scenes that stand out in your mind with Jaws?
Well, it starts. It starts out good. The girl who looks very beautiful, naked.
Yeah, right. In 4K.
And she's not even like I'm not being sexist or anything, but she's not the best looking girl in the world.
No,
but she looks good. And that scene alone, like you're sitting there, like you see that shark and you're like, you don't even see the shark, but you're like, man, this thing is how big is this thing to sit there and drag somebody around like that? And I mean, I just like every scene. Like, it's so hard to pick a favorite scene, but like, I probably really anything involving Quint, because I think it's safe to say that I think Quint is everybody's favorite character in Jaws. So
absolutely. And Robert Shaw, whether it be this, whether it be taking Pelham 1, 2, 3, whether it be all the Shakespearean, performances he gave, I think he gave the performance of his career in this movie. And it's such a shame that he really didn't live very long to absorb all the hype that this movie got. I believe he died very shortly after making this movie.
Yeah, 78.
That's a travesty, because he was fucking, to me, him and Dreyfus really make this movie, and Quint especially. I love Robert Shaw in this movie.
Well, and we can even bring this up too, but like, I look at the list of people who were considered besides Roy Scheider and Dreyfus and Shaw, like, you're like, yeah, they'd be good, but like, I just can't see it. Like, Charlton Heston, the book was popular and he really wanted to play Chief Brody, and I love Charlton Heston, but I'm like, he would be good, but I just can't see it,
I agree. And to me, it's the difference of, can you hit me a double or can you hit me a home run? I think, and people will probably say, oh, well, Heston is better than Roy Scheider. Like, and I can hear that. Honestly, I would agree. I think Charlton Heston is the better actor of the two. However, to me, Dreyfus and Shaw, they're up here with this movie. But Chief Brody, he brings them down almost to like that perfect happy medium. He's really the anchor that holds that movie together. While these two are up here, he anchors their performances down, and it works. Those three worked. And that's a big reason why I don't think the Jaws 2 is as effective as Jaws 1, because you brought Brody back, but he sorely misses what was bringing him up. All those three guys, that perfect happy medium. And that's why I think Jaws is a masterpiece. It's the character moments between them, and talking about, the dinner. I didn't know what you made, so I bought both wines, and the scene where Dreyfus is laughing, they're all gonna die, and the farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies, farewell and adieu you ladies of Spain. Just the character moments are unforgettable, but also, on top of that, the kill scenes. I mean, number one, you got a great, memorable opening kill. And to me, the best kill in this movie is, of course, the boy on the yellow raft.
Yeah.
Just ever since I was a kid, that horrified me. I've never been that deep in the ocean on a raft ever again, and you're also taking the gloves off in that scene. If this kid can die, out of all they set it up, the dog goes missing. The guy's throwing the stick with his dog. The dog goes missing. He's looking, and all the people rush out. They show everything. And then, of course, all we see is just this blood and this yellow raft. It's an iconic kill. To me, it's the best kill scene in this movie. One of the best kill scenes in any horror movie, just because it's so horrifying. And it's Spielberg saying, the gloves are off. Anybody can go.
Yeah. Am I the only one, who thought that his mom, the little kid's mom, like, I always thought that, is this his mom or is this his grandma at first? Because she looked a lot.
Yeah, she's so old, man.
Well, no, like, she looks older. Like, she was only like, okay, like in her 40s or something.
She aged pretty poorly, man. I don't mean to be mean, but she looked older.
I always thought it's like, it's okay if he's vacationing with his grandma, but like, And,
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I was always like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean, that scene really sets you up. And I don't know if you ever you live closer to the ocean than I do, but I don't even know if you were like this. This movie, I first saw this when I was about like 5 years old.
Wow.
And I just I remember, you could say if I was being a bad boy, my dad tells me to cover my eyes at a certain scene, and I peeped, and I see the the leg floating down. Like, ever since then, like, for a good long while, like, I would always take like quick showers, because I also saw Psycho around that time too.
Oh shit!
So like, for the longest time, like, literally, I mean years. I don't even know how long, but for years I would take really quick showers, and so like, for the longest time in school, I was the smelly kid because of that. So,
Oh shit.
but you know, I mean, just because like it affects you, like I live. I mean, the only sharks that we get is like maybe the occasional like oh reef sharks, you know, because they sometimes travel to freshwater, but like that's like once in a blue moon. I mean, so I don't know. Like that's the thing about this movie. You never hear about like stuff like that. Like people were afraid to, you know, go into the lake to go swimming or go into, you know, I can understand the ocean not wanting to go swimming, but like I heard of so many stories about that, how this movie affected people so much that they were afraid to go into the water.
I'm one of those people. I honestly, like, I am a pool guy to the day I die. Like, I am not like the ocean, like whether it be rip tides, whether it be, especially you're talking about, you know, this was shot in New Jersey, the fucking waters of New Jersey. The waters of New Jersey are so fucking gross compared to like whether it be the Bahamas. Like, I know when we get to the Jaws of Revenge, that most of that was shot in the Bahamas. The water is crystal clear. I mean, you can see your feet if you're in the deep part of the ocean. But fucking New Jersey, bro, the water's like black tar. You can't see shit. If I stuck my feet in, I couldn't see my feet. Like just ankles to the fucking water down. Can't see anything. Like it's gross water. It's not nice water. But honestly, man, it scarred me. Like I don't go deep in. I stick my feet in. That's it. I do not go deep into the ocean still this day because of Jaws.
It even affected Spielberg. He said that there was one of those documentaries that came out because every few years there's always a documentary about Jaws. Which,
yeah,
hey, I'll take those all day.
Sure.
And they asked Spielberg the one question that you would think you would ask Spielberg: can you go into the water? And he said, I haven't been actual swimming in the ocean since I made Jaws.
Wow.
And he said, I stick to my pool, and even then I swear, like sometimes I see a shark fin.
Yeah, no, I'm a, you know, foolproof pool guy. I just like the pool better. I don't know. I'm that way. I'm not a big beach person, period. Like I'm not a big, let's get a tan and let's fucking get sand everywhere. I don't know. I'm just not my fucking cup of tea. It's huge around here. I mean, all the kids around here, they love the beach. I'll read a book if I go to a beach. I'm just sitting there on a beach chair reading a book. That's basically me.
People who are people here, but like, I'm like, man, you know, I mean, because Kansas does have beaches too. They're not like ocean beaches, but they're beaches. But like, it's just, you know, I'm just like, no. I mean, with my luck, I would probably get eaten by a reef shark. So
exactly, yeah, and I feel the same way. Like a shark would mistake my ass for a tuna and just eat me whole and be like, fuck, like eaten by a fucking great white in the ocean. I mean, what a heroic way to go. What a dramatic way to go, man.
But yeah, like you don't, and that's another thing. Like you don't hear about that anymore. Like a horror movie that actually like affected people that much, where like they were afraid to go here, you know. And to me, that does say something about you know, Spielberg. And like what's amazing that we should talk about, this movie's PG.
Yes, that's true. It's absolutely wild that it's PG.
I mean, if this was made nowadays, this would probably easily get PG-13.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, because now it's more of, you know, of what you say that can get you really an R rating. But there's no language that's really bad in this. I would say that the most gruesome scene that they show is you know, Quint getting eaten. But even that,
I'd argue the boy, honestly.
I think the boy is worse mentally for me, but I think you see more with Robert Shaw, like, because you see the shark chomping on him. With the boy, you just see the blood spatter and then the raft. You really never see the boy getting chomped on. It's just, you almost fill in all the blanks with your head. And that's what makes it so. I remember as a kid being like, I will never go in the ocean because of this. Like, holy shit, man. And then I think what's really smart too, in a lot of movies, like you were saying, that things that this movie does that movies don't do anymore, the aftermath, showing his mother again after mourning her son and smacking Brody. just how the heartbreak in her eyes and how, she felt that this could have been avoided, and it could have been. And really the one she should have been slapping was Murray Hamilton, who's fucking also fantastic in this movie. I love Murray. Great veteran actor, of course. He's in this and the second Jaws film, although they filmed all his stuff very, very briefly because his wife was sick. But Murray Hamilton's great. The whole ensemble really is really good in this movie. Like, nobody ever really mentions Murray Hamilton, but I think he's great. Only 24 hours. Murray is money.
Mayor, but I remember as I got older, like I love the mayor too, but like as an older person, I can understand where he's coming from, But like when I was a teenager, I'm like, why doesn't the shark just eat the mayor,
Honestly, yeah. And like I think they missed out on that in Jaws 2. Like, that definitely should have happened in Jaws 2, where he got killed, or his son, or like that definitely should have happened. Yeah, something like that, where he could feel it.
Look at it from a just after going to school for business, I have to look at it from a business standpoint, because let's face it, being mayor is basically you're in charge of the town, so you have to look at business and everything else. I get where he's coming from, but like I think that the mayor easily could have handled it a lot better, So,
well, isn't that every situation in the world today with shit that could have been handled better that was fucking completely botched? I mean, that's the name of the game now. It really is. Devin says it might be harder to make a film now, but I don't care. I have passion, dedication. My original idea, Heroes of Doom. I will do everything in my power to get it made, even if I don't make money. That's very noble. I hope you do get the chance to make that. Yeah. Jaws is easily my favorite from Spielberg. I completely agree with that, Aiden. And that's saying a lot, because the guy made a lot of good movies. I remember when I was a little kid, this was back when I lived in New York, my grandpa would always tell me not to go near the water because a shark would jump out and get me. Wow, that's fantastic that your grandpa told you that. It's funny, like my whole family, big beach people, just not me. Ever since I saw this, I went, nope, not for me. I'm good.
I mean, hey, I'll even admit it right now. Like I'm obviously I'm not like the stinky guy anymore, but like I'm in and out of the shower, because I know a shark's not going to get me in the shower, but like, I'm still in and out, but
it's scary. No, I agree with you. When filmmakers bring up ideas and shit that we haven't seen before like that, it hits home so much harder. Like Elm Street with sleeping. I'm sure people that were scared to sleep after that. Like, holy shit, I don't want to dream about Freddy Krueger. But with the shower, that's something people do every day. With the beach, that's something people do every summer. So
at least you should do it every day.
You should. Yeah. I don't know if the whole country does. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if half the whole country does it every day, but we digress. I just think there's such a great heart to this movie that the sequels sorely miss. Like, I love all the comparing the scars and, I got that beat. And then the final one, like, oh, she broke my heart. Just fantastic stuff. I absolutely love how those two played off each other. It's amazing that they hated each other, but again, sometimes that happens with movies, whether it be, Batman Forever. I always thought it was funny that Jim Carrey said that Tommy Lee Jones hated him. They played off each other great to me. And the same thing with Jaws. It's those two hated each other for real, but on screen, they were magical together.
Well, that's the real funny thing. Like, I mean, when you're just hanging out with, your friends or, the guys, that's what makes that scene so lovely is you do that, like I could do that right now with, you guys show some stuff that happened to me with some injuries I've gotten. I could even show right now. Now I'm gonna have to flip off your camera in order to get a good view of it. But like, if you could see this, this finger is actually slightly crooked.
Ooh.
I actually had a teacher, and who she I'm a fat guy, so I kind of pulled myself out of the door, and she didn't see my hand there, so she slammed the door on my finger, and it's actually slightly flexible.
Oh my god!
But like all around here, except for right where if I hit that with something, like all around here, except for that little spot right there, that has like the biggest pain receptors ever. But like if I hit it like right around here or anywhere but that little bent area, I don't feel anything on that finger.
Wow. That's so wild.
But because that teacher was so worried about getting sued, I could spend there all day and like getting out of work because I would just sit there and play with my finger, and she would go buy me Dr. Pepper and ice for it.
Oh my God, dude! You had her by the leash the rest of the way.
Oh yeah, well I didn't mind because she was definitely one of the better looking teachers. Like I was like, because when I was college, so I was like 18, 19 years old, something like that. And she was like,
oh shit! I thought the album picture in like young Tyjoonbug in like elementary school. This was college. What the fuck?
No, she was like 22 years old and quite good looking, and I was like, man, I was taking full advantage of it.
That's fantastic. And I'm glad you did. That's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, well, yeah.
No, I love the comparing scar stories. Like that's shit people relate to. Like that's a real conversation I've heard people had in the past, and like it's been ripped off and stuff. I know Chasing Amy, they ripped that scene off like crazy in that movie.
So. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could tell stories about some of the scars you've gotten. So
sure, yeah, no, I don't know if we should go down that road, but definitely have scars.
No, that's what I'm saying. That like every guy, when you're hanging out with the bros, you're having a guys' night. Somewhere down the line, you always have a conversation about the scars. So, I mean, that you've gotten, and especially in tree work, you get a lot of different scars and everything. And doing landscaping work, some of it's your own fault, some of it's equipment's fault, and some of it you just had a really off day. So
it happens in every line of work, good brother. It really does, and that's the thing. Like I love. I just love this movie. I think it's an absolute fucking masterpiece, really. Like the whole build up, the whole, the screeching of the chalkboard, and I'll give you the head, the tail, the whole damn thing. And I like how he talks about the shark's eyes like a doll's eye.
And to think, Robert Shaw was drunk when he was doing that scene.
And I know he tried to do the Indianapolis speech drunk, and he like botched it horribly. Like they were initially like, "Hey, do this scene drunk," and he said, "Okay." And the Indianapolis speech, he just kept like slurring or mumbling, or he just couldn't get it down. And then the next day, he apologized and said, "I'll do it sober." And the Indianapolis scene was done sober.
Robert Shaw, the British actors' way of thinking, a lot of British actors, and it even so happens to this day, a lot of British actors think that they give a better performance if they're drunk. Like you had Robert Shaw, Peter O'Toole, Richard Harris, who was in, probably one of the better Jaws ripoffs in Orca, but like everyone was drunk. Every British actor usually was drunk, just completely hammered during it. Like even Robert Shaw, like anytime you see Robert Shaw drinking in the movie, he's actually probably drinking.
Yeah, definitely. I believe he was alcoholic, right? In real life? From what I've heard, I believe that's the case, but I'm not positive.
That's the thing. Like a lot of those British actors were only alcoholics when they were working.
Which is probably the worst time to be an alcoholic.
Well, exactly. But like, it even happens, even to this day, like British actors always do. Like Tom Hardy is a notorious drunk on set. Like Tom Hardy said, in order to play Venom, he felt like he had to get hammered.
Wow.
And so if you watch that movie knowing that Tom Hardy was drunk, like I could tell right away because I've seen so many British actors act before, knowing that like British people just act drunk. Like they can hide their drunk things, but they have little quirks that I've noticed.
Maybe Topher Grace should have tried that with Spider-Man 3.
No. Well, he couldn't try that because Kurtwood Smith would sit there and say, "You dumbass!
You dumbass! You're grounded!" And Kitty. Yeah. Dude, I love that show. That 70s show is great. I don't know. Topher Grace had a rough transition from that show. I'll just leave it at that. I don't even dislike the actor. Just for some reason, he didn't work in other things as well as he did in that, which happens.
Look, Jaws.
What's that?
Did you ever read the book Jaws?
I've not read the book Jaws. I know Peter Benchley, and I know we actually went to a screening. Last time I saw Jaws was actually in the cinema. Well, before I watched it on 4K this last week, but I saw it in the cinema. It was 35 millimeter, and fucking Carl Gottlieb was there.
Cool.
So he was right in the front row, and after he did a Q&A, we all asked him questions. I asked him about Murray Hamilton. I was like, dude, do you have any Murray Hamilton stories? And he was like, honestly, no. And I was like, damn, like I was hoping to hear a great, because he's never ever mentioned. It's always like, let's mention Dreyfuss and Shaw. And I get that. I mean, that's famous, but I don't know.
The book, I remember I had my aunt read it to us during the summer, because we were big fans of the movies. Let's read the book, because my grandma got it on Reader's Digest. From my grandma has quite the Reader's Digest collection, so this is like an original 1974 edition of the Reader's Digest version of it.
Yeah.
So we were reading it, and I'm like, I remember thinking like, well, I like the movie, but this book, like Chief Brody, like he's just kind of there. You really start to hate Matt Hooper, because spoilers for anybody who hasn't read the book, but don't read it. It sucks. So, so I don't care if I really spoil it. Matt Hooper and Ellen Brody are having an affair. So that you really start to hate, Matt Hooper. Quint's basically the same, but he talks like a, just an old sailor, so in it more. But like, and then like the mayor, the only reason why he doesn't want to close the beaches is because there's a mobster. So like the mayor owes money to the mob, so that's why he wants the summer dollars.
Yeah, it's weird. I know that the novel is way darker, and Carl Gottlieb even said that to Peter Benchley, that he wasn't a fan of the film and all that, and that's a shame. Like I've heard that with so many great movies. I know Roald Dahl hates Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and that's mind blowing to me, because I've read that book and I don't see how you could possibly hate fucking Willy Wonka and the Chocolate. I just don't get it. But it's one of my favorite movies, so I guess it is what it is. But I think that's the thing with writers, and it's been even shown in movies, whether it be the producers, when they take Springtime for Hitler, the writer is angry when they adapt it, and they're trying to be bad. And what is this baby? And I love that movie. But that's exactly what happens with a lot of these movies that are adapted from books. The writers get all pissed off. But honestly, with Jaws, and I know there are a lot of people, there's always that guy in the back of the room, oh, the book is always better. In this fucking case, I don't think so at all. I don't think you can top Jaws. Like, I don't care how good your book is. I don't think it's as good as this movie.
From what I've seen, like, people who always say that, then they read the Jaws book, they're like, yeah, the movie's better. So.
Yeah, thank you. And it is. And like the thing with you were talking about with the affair with Hooper and Ellen Brody, that's also there was stuff like that shot for Jaws 2, where she's fooling around with the other guy, not Murray Hamilton, but I forget the other fucking actor's name.
Yeah.
She's with him, and they have all these deleted scenes with them two, like sneaking off together and dancing together. And I was like, what what was their obsession with getting this in the movie? It adds nothing to a Jaws film to me.
No,
like, it was great that they wrote that out, because what would that add to this movie? If anything, it's taking away. It's a needless subplot that Spielberg shot down, which was smart to shoot that down.
And, well, honestly, it makes you dislike Ellen Brody, and yeah, you could argue she's just a devoted housewife or whatever she does, at least in the first movie. But she's just a mother. What is that? It would kind of make you dislike the mother even more. So
I like that you really care for their relationship too, because I like the whole dynamic between Chief Brody. I don't know. Can you still hear me, Ty?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My screen went black for a minute. I don't know what happened. But yeah, no, like I do think that in the first movie, at least, she does have a nice emotional weight. And there's that whole scene with the kids in the boat, and she sees the painting or the picture, and listen to your father and get out of the boat. I love that. I think that's just great.
I hear your father. Get out of the water now.
Yes, I love that. And honestly, we'll get into the Ellen Brody character with the last film of this series, because fucking holy shit. I watched that the other night, man. I have a lot to say about that piece of shit. But no, in this, I think she did what she had to do. Like, she was the loving housewife. It didn't have to be anything else. There was no need to go into a cheating plot, and it would have made you like Hooper even less. Like, to me,
Exactly.
it's the brotherhood of those three guys. That's why Jaws works. It really is.
Hooper dies in the book.
Yes.
He gets. There's a part of me that like wishes we would have gotten that, but then like, man, you would just feel so sorry for Chief Brody. I like the ending, where they just swim off with the barrels, but he gets nailed in the stomach by Jaws.
Yeah.
And I mean, and actually, I think they said that the shark is actually. I mean, I understand why they couldn't do it, but like the shark is basically not quite megalodon, but like the shark is a huge shark because. Peter Benchley. Peter Benchley was inspired by a 1916 shark attack movie, or 1916 shark attack. I believe it happened in New Jersey somewhere. He was inspired by that, and he also was inspired by a shark that was caught in the early 60s. I think to this day it's considered the biggest shark ever caught, and like I believe it was like 50 tons or something like that.
Wow.
Or something like that.
That's incredible.
To this day, I think it's the biggest great white ever caught. So,
Jesus.
So that easily could have been the last megalodon ever to exist. We don't know, but
yeah, no, absolutely. It's very possible. Aiden says, I also enjoyed Duel. That's another great Spielberg film no one talks about. Absolutely agree with that. He was good in American Ultra, talking about Topher Grace. Yes, that 70s show is what we were referring to. Stephen King hated The Shining, but he is Stephen King. So, yeah, no, like, I don't get it at all. Oh, yeah, and he also liked the Dark Tower movie. Exactly.
Well, that's the thing is, like, what works for a book sometimes just can't work well for the screen,
Yes.
And because a book, you're only limited to what you have in your imagination. With a movie, at least in the these days, you were only limited to what you could build. Now we can just build whatever on a computer, but that's even another thing. Like, this shark looks far better than anything CGI can ever do.
Yes, absolutely.
Because this shark, somebody made this, and like the only reason the only reason I hate complaining about CGI because it's such a cliche at this point, but the only reason CGI doesn't work is because like usually they don't light it correctly, or there's something just weird about it. Like, but it's always usually lighting. All my CGI doesn't look good. And, the thing is, we have not gotten to that point where computers can create good lighting.
Yeah.
And
right.
I think we're probably years before that will even happen. So.
Yeah, you're right. And I think there's certain part of me where it's like a level of respect goes out to the people that worked on that shark. Of course, they call it Bruce. Like the blood, sweat, and tears that were poured into trying to make that damn thing work. And the payoff that you get is arguably one of the best movies ever made. Like, that's such a great payoff. If I worked on that and my life was hell for however long it took to film this movie, and the payoff was this, and the amount of money this made, and the amount of noise that this made, and the fact that it will forever be known as one of the biggest blockbuster movies or biggest blockbuster movie of the summer movies ever. I could hang my hat on that forever. I'd be like, this is all the hard work and dedication, and the big monster, if you will, that's front and center on the poster. We worked on that. We made that work. And I think that there's so much more of a film magic to that than there is with CGI. Like, oh, I created that CGI effect. I typed that in and put that on the screen. It's just, it doesn't carry the same weight.
No. And that's even the other thing too. Somebody handmade this thing, and yet like it's very sad. Like what ended up happening to the shark. Like I think of for a while it was at Universal Studios, and then once they had to make room for more Jaws, once they got rid of the Jaws attraction, there goes Bruce. So I don't even think the shark even exists anymore. It's a sad part, you know.
That was horrible when they fucking announced that was going away. Like,
yeah. And you know, I mean, it's just so many things, you know. I mean, and I'm gonna even bring this up. You know, you know, it shows. I think it kind of shows the confidence Universal must have had in Spielberg, because he was days over budget.
And I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah, like he was days over budget and everything. Like I don't exactly remember the exact days, because I can't name an exact number because I've always heard different ones. But he was over budget. And nowadays, if this came out in the internet age, and like let's say the big new Marvel movie was over budget, and you know they were having production problems, there would be so many people ranting on the internet like this movie's gonna suck and everything. And I honestly think if this movie came out now, it would flop, because you know people just be ranting about it on the internet, and I think that negative stuff about it would just affect the movie.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like I've heard all these horrible things about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, like the test screenings were so bad that people freaked out, and like the whole internet's like, oh shit, this is gonna, and me included, I'm like, holy shit. When I heard that, I'm like, okay, forget it. But you're right. Like if you heard all of these behind the scenes problems, oh, these two actors didn't get along. Oh, well, they're going to suck in the movie if they didn't get along. End up being my two favorite characters of this entire franchise. And then, you know, you turn around all these problems with the shark. The shark is used so effectively. It's so weird. It's like everything they had a problem with was executed and delivered perfectly in the film somehow. It's really a movie that defies physics, because how do you have that many problems and then the movie turns out as good as Jaws does? Like I know you were saying before, no film is perfect, but if there's one that's damn close, it's Jaws. I mean, it really is close to damn perfect.
Jaws is one of those movies that is perfect. Like no film is absolutely perfect, but like if you're nitpicking about, if you're sitting there complaining about something at Jaws, you're just like grasping at the straws on how much you don't like this one. So
yeah,
I did want to bring up this. You know, the scene where Quint is on the bridge. Wait, no, it's where they all kind of gather around the boat. You can actually see a comet in the movie.
Never noticed that.
They actually caught a comet. I mean, and that's actually considered if you actually could film a comet for a film, that's actually considered good luck.
I guess that was the case.
But then Spielberg, when he realized that, he decided to make this fake comet that goes around too. Because it's the scene. It's the scene where Chief Brody gets hit by the barrel, and then he loses his glasses, and right above him is this fake comet, and the fake one is very noticeable. But like you have to be paying attention for the real one. So, and yeah, you know, it's one of those movies that, I mean, we could really spend all day talking about Jaws. You know, I mean,
you're right,
because it's. But I did want to mention this. You know who the original director was, right? That was hired, not Spielberg, right?
I did not know that. Who was the original director?
Michael Weiner. He's the guy who directed Death Wish.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the original director hired, but then he wanted to make it more like Moby Dick, and Zanuck and Brown did not feel that was the right choice. So
Spielberg was the right choice. There was really, this is one of those time capsule movies. It was the right cast, right place, right time. It really can't be recreated, and it's really one of those movies that, like I always say this: if there was a time capsule and I had to put 5 films under the ground for 5 years, for 100 years, Jaws would probably be one of them. It would be Jaws, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those would be films that I'd put in that time capsule, because I really do believe they're lightning in a bottle. So you really want to capture movies like that and save them for however many years down the road we go. If you had to rate Jaws out of 10, what would you give it?
Well, I'm going to cheat for you because I don't believe in the 10-star system. I only believe in 5 stars. So,
Okay.
I'd say it's one of those very few movies that's it is 5 stars. So
I'll go with your rating system as well. Out of 5, I would give Jaws, the original, an absolute fucking 5. I love Jaws. I think it's one of the best movies ever made. Absolutely right up there with the greats. Without CGI, we wouldn't have the character General Grievous or Thanos in film. So I don't think CGI is the evil monster that everyone makes it out to be, especially you old movie people. Well, I hear you. I think CGI can be done sparingly and be done well. I'm not saying that CGI can't be done as good, but my thing is there's so much less to me that goes into that than what went into Bruce the Shark and what goes into great practical effects.
Those are good examples of CGI because they got good lighting and everything.
Yes.
And because they actually spent the time to do that. And you have to think those movies had the time to do that because
the budget.
Yeah, the budget and time because those were Star Wars movies and Marvel movies. Some indie filmmaker who only has a $10 million budget and he decides to use CGI, his CGI is going to look crappy. So
yeah, exactly. And that's what happens, especially with a lot of the direct-to-video stuff. AJ Zitro's in the house. Hell yeah. What's going on, brother AJ? Hope all's well with you tonight. Star Wars, Spider-Man 2. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm not saying that the CGI can't be done well. I think that practical triumphs.
Yeah, again, it all depends on the budget of your film and how the CGI works. And heck, there's even big budget movies where the CGI is horrible. So
sure, yeah, no, it can be fucked up even when you have the money and time and all this, just because of pure laziness. John Carpenter's The Thing, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 74, Dawn of the Dead 78, and Jaws are perfect films. Those are 4 of my favorite movies ever made, so I completely agree with that. 8 out of 10 for Devin. Okay, those are fair ratings. So, Mr. Joonbug, of course, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, of course, probably the greatest film tagline of all time, probably my favorite film tagline of all time. In 1978, Jeanette Swar, I've never understood how to pronounce this guy's last name. Jeanette Swar takes the director's chair, and he brings us Jaws 2.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention before we actually, because I feel that I can't believe we forgot about this, but like Jaws has, probably one of the best scores of all time. So.
Oh yeah, shit. John Williams. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, before we even talk about Jaws 2, let's give a shout out to that. So
absolutely. I apologize, Mr. Williams.
I don't want to hear in the comments, you guys forgot about the score. Like, yeah, we can't mention everything, but yes, Jaws 2, I think I honestly, like, is it as good as Jaws? No, but I do think it should be looked at more as one of those movies. Like, it should be looked at more like The Godfather Part 2 or, Back to the Future Part 2, like one of those movies that you could kind of argue it's not as good maybe as the first one, but it's just as good. I think it has its more issues, but, as far as a sequel goes, it's honestly pretty good, so.
It's funny with Jaws 2, I've wanted to like this film for the longest time. I really, really do. But there's something about it that's off for me. And I think it's really the missing Dreyfuss and Shaw. It really misses their presence because they brought so much to why the original movie works. And also knowing that Roy Scheider didn't want to be in it and the whole controversy that he left production of The Deer Hunter and as a favor to the studio said, we'll drop this for you if you do Jaws 2. And he was so against it. And he and Jeanette Schwar, they butted heads a lot. I do think, for one thing, he's great in the movie. I think Roy Scheider's great in the movie. I think he's probably the best thing about the movie. I think some of the direction is good. I think the shark stuff is good. The only thing with this movie is it feels very much like a slasher film. Like the character setups. It almost feels like a Friday the 13th setup. And that's probably why some people would like it, and you would think it would work. But for me, it just didn't work for Jaws. Like having all the teen setups and, oh, does she like me, man? Oh, she likes you, bro. Like very weird conversations going on, at least for me. Like I was like, I don't know about this. Like, of course, you have the one guy with the curly hair. He reminds me of Shelley from Friday the 13th Part 3. Like it's very much like that. And of course, the scene with the woman on the boat and she ends up accidentally like burning Jaws on the side of its face and has all these scars. just like a slasher villain, just like Michael Myers in Halloween 2 towards the end. He gets burned and scarred and all this. It's such a weird movie for me. Like, there's points of it where I agree with you. I go, wow, that may be not as good as Jaws 1, but it's damn good. But then there are times where I'm like, this is a flat sequel, and I rarely go back to it. But I don't know. I'm very, very middle of the road on this one. What are some of your other positives?
I mean, I like Roy Schneider, and it, like, for a guy who, it shows the professionalism of Roy. You know, I'm gonna use another actor as an example. You know, Roy, you can't even tell that he did not even enjoy making this movie.
That's true.
But like Harrison Ford, when he did Return of the Jedi, he didn't want to do that movie, and you can kind of tell a little bit. You know, like the way he's, you know, he's kind of, honestly, it's almost to the point like where Harrison Ford's basically throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's like people like say, oh, well, he was just frozen in carbonite, and they defend it. I agree. His performance isn't nearly as good as Han Solo in that film as it is in the other two.
Oh, yeah. So, but, I mean, Jeanette Schwartz even got to the point where he was they were butting heads so much that he actually got into a fist fight with Jeanette Schwartz. And, you know, and Jeanette Schwartz, though, like, he is one of those underrated directors. Like, I've seen some of his other movies. He's a very good director. And, like, I honestly, though, like, can't think of another choice that really could have directed. Like, you could argue, like, what if they got, like, Tobe Hooper or something to direct it? Or, you know, somebody.
Honestly, though, like, here's my thing. I don't think Jeanette Schwartz is the worst possible choice. Like, but granted, I agree. I think Tobe Hooper. I think there's so many better choices you could have gone with. Like, I believe he had made a creature feature before this. Was it Slugs or Ticks or something like that?
Bugs.
Bugs. And that was the movie that got him the job for this.
Which I don't know. Like, I've seen Bugs. You picked that movie. I mean, for this guy to direct the sequel to Jaws, like, I honestly think they should have gone with, like, one of those more established horror directors. You know, like, if they wanted to go that route, like, honestly, get Tobe Hooper, you know, or, you know, heck, you know, I know he was busy doing Dawn of the Dead at the time, but George Romero or something, you know.
Or even the people that made Jaws ripoffs, like whether it be, I know Louis Teague wasn't in the picture around this time, but Louis Teague made a damn good Jaws ripoff in Alligator. The guy who directed Orca made a damn good Jaws ripoff in Orca. There's some good Jaws ripoffs. I don't know. William Girdler, I believe, had passed away, or at least right around this time. I don't think William Girdler would have been the right choice for Jaws 2, but there's definitely some guys you could have gotten, I think, better than Jeanette Schwartz. And I don't even know if he was the problem, because I don't think the water scenes are shot poorly. I really don't. I think they're directed quite well. I think the problem with this movie is the characters. It's the stuff around the action that's just not nearly as good as the first film.
No, it's not. And, you know, I know, like, people, you know, like, even the mayor, you know, like, that's one thing, like, I have an issue with. Okay, you guys had a shark attack, I think this, I'd say 3 years after, because I think it's 7. So you had a shark attack about 3 years ago, and you're telling me that you're not going to take this seriously again, you know?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Like, I mean, I know, you know, politicians are a bunch of, you know, jackhammers sometimes, but, you know, I don't think they're that corrupt, you know?
Yeah, even the worst person would have, like, at least been like, okay, yeah, last time you were right, so let me put my tail between my legs, swallow my pride. But, you know, they do give him a lot of shit. You're right. It's weird. And the thing about this movie, they make it a case to point out his son. It's like, oh, that's the mayor's son. Wouldn't you think that, like, I thought a great thing would have been to have the son get eaten and then, oh my God, I could have stopped this, you know?
Yeah.
There's none of that.
And I just want to say that, you know, they shot on Martha's Vineyard. I never heard exactly why they didn't end up casting the same kid to play Michael Brody.
Oh God.
Because this, you know, at least that kid in the first movie, for a kid actor, he was tolerable. I don't know if, like, you know, this was the best person they could find, but this is easily the worst Michael Brody ever.
Yes.
I mean, his acting, and I'm not even one to complain about acting because, I've seen some of my favorite movies don't have the best acting in the world. But this kid is just like, this Dr. Pepper could act better than that guy. And that's without the butterscotch whiskey that I'm drinking in it. So
yeah, no, it's funny. Like a lot of the acting he does in this movie, he'll move his head. He'll be like, so like it's weird. It's after a while you're like, what the fuck? Did somebody tell him to stop? Like it's almost like Eric Freeman with only a really shitty version of that where like I always wonder on Silent Alien 2, did somebody take him aside and was like, bro, like what are you doing? Because that I probably would have said something. But this movie, that guy was terrible. And I believe that actor never acted again. So,
no, he only did. I think he was like, I think he was honestly like, I looked at some of the stuff he did. Like, I think he was just like a stock like child actor at that point because he was only years old. And like, just like one of those kids in like 70s TV shows, like, oh, here you go, here's a job,
I don't know. And I wonder why he hasn't shown up at conventions to rob people of their money. I was in Jaws too.
Probably because
$20.
Because they were like, you sucked.
Yeah, I would have been like, dude, I ain't paying you shit. You suck.
Well, I haven't even heard what he's doing now, so
I don't know, but he definitely didn't quit his day job. We'll put it that way. I don't think he's doing too much work now. Man, I don't know. It's funny because the director of the new upcoming Texas Chainsaw film said when it was tested, it scored as high as Don't Breathe 2. I don't believe. Also, welcome, Good Gomer, Bloodbound Productions, awesome person. I don't believe him for 2 seconds. I believe that thing did test positive, negatively, and I think it's just cover up. I don't have any faith for that new Chainsaw film. Star Wars original trilogy, Spider-Man 2, a little bit of the first Spider-Man, a few issues are practically perfect movies, but then again, perfect movies don't exist. Yeah, no, totally. Jaws 2 is fine. I don't love it. You hit the nail on the head, Grande. It's missing Dreyfus, and it feels like a slasher film. Yes, definitely. I would love to have seen Tobe Hooper do Jaws 2. Yeah, no, that would have been, I agree with you, Ty. I think that would have been a cool direction to take this. Like, just give it to somebody, an up-and-comer. Whereas Jeanette Swar, I don't know, you went from Spielberg to him. Like, it's almost too big of a step down.
The only other reason they went with him, too, one of Spielberg's first jobs was as a director. He directed Night Gallery, that Rod Serling did after Twilight Zone. Which I actually, in some ways, like better than Twilight Zone. I mean, I'm not comparing them, but like, I like the angles they went with Night Gallery more than some of the early episodes of Twilight Zone because it was basically just a colored Rod Serling version of Twilight Zone. But Jeanette Schwartz was one of the directors who directed a lot of those early episodes along with Spielberg. And one of the producers knew who Jeanette was. So,
yeah. I don't know, like, and we'll get into this with Jaws 3. Like, they went with the guy who's directed Second Unit on this, Joe Alves, and then by the time you get to Part 4, they went with like mainly a television director in Joseph Sargent, although he had directed other movies. But it's weird the directing choices from here on out. Like, and it's funny because like they asked Spielberg to do it again, he said absolutely not. They wanted Roy Schreider. He didn't want to do it, but because of contractual obligation and to get out of this bullshit, he came back. It's almost like this is a movie that nobody wanted to make. Do you think that this is a film that just entirely should have been skipped? They never should have made this, just left it at Jaws 1.
In some ways, I think I'm glad we got it because, I think it does have, a good like heart to it, because like the fan, like Roy Schneider, despite him not liking the movie, at least he's still playing Chief Brody. You know, I think, and honestly, if Roy gave like a Harrison Ford Return of the Jedi performance in it, then the movie, I would not like the movie as much as I do. But I think because Roy is a professional actor, he's not going to throw a tantrum because of whatever. I think the movie would have not worked at all.
Yeah.
So I think he honestly saves the movie, but like I do see the flaws. Like if I was gonna, we're not gonna quite do rating systems yet, but if I was gonna rate it, I'd probably give it at least maybe a 4.5.
Wow, so that's pretty high. I definitely like. To me, okay, perfect example. I was watching this the other night. I like to do show prep. I like to rewatch everything. Granted, Jaws 1, I've seen it about a million times, but the sequels, I definitely made sure I wanted to watch. The scene in Jaws 2 that I think is the best scene is when that whale washes up on the shore, and the actress playing the doctor that comes in, she's actually been in a ton of good movies. To Kill a Mockingbird. She's also in that classic episode of The Twilight Zone. Number 12 Looks Just Like You. Great actress. She comes on and they're talking to each other. And do you think it could have been a great white? I've had experiences with this, and they're back and forth. To me, that felt just like the first film. You could have told me that was shot in 1975, edited into this movie, and I would believe you. Like, that's great stuff. That scene feels very much in the vein of Jaws 1. I agree with you. Schreider's performance, fantastic. It really is. You're right. It's a professional performance coming from someone who A, didn't want to be in it, B, hated the director, and C, really had to carry this film on his own because he didn't have any real help with him. But that scene in particular, I watched that scene and go, man, I wish the whole movie was just like this scene, how it feels. But I do think some of the action works. I think the finale works. My thing is, Ty, and I don't know about you, some of the kid characters, I'll be honest with you. I've seen this movie quite a few times. I don't remember any of their names.
Oh, you don't remember their names. And like, honestly, like one of the things I like about this movie is one of the reasons why I didn't mention the death for the first one is just because, like, yeah, it's cool, but like this death for the shark, I think is better than the first.
It's an amazing kill. It's a slasher kill, really, in a lot of ways.
Well, and the thing is, we actually get to hear Chief Brody sit there, smile, you son of a bitch, instead of take a load of this, son of a
open wide, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. But it cuts. Open wide, you son of a, and then boom.
Yeah.
In this, we actually get to hear him say, "Smile, you son of a bitch."
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm one of those people that, like, I might not like everything, but if an actor can actually carry the movie and be, good, then I'm going to give it a little more praise, just because, like, it shows the professionalism. Like, again, and like, honestly, I don't even know if I've seen The Deer Hunter. I don't even know if Roy Schneider would have worked in that movie.
I don't either. Do you know why he left? I was going to ask you that. I don't know why, because that's a weird movie to leave. Like,
because of the contract with this movie, that's why he left.
Like, I thought he had already left the Deer Hunter, though. I thought that was the thing. He left the Deer Hunter, and then they said, "We'll forgive this
I've heard
if you do Jaws 2."
I've heard that he did not get along with that director either.
Oh.
So, and not to say like Roy Schneider was a jerk on set. I just think he liked more. I don't know if he really liked I think he liked professional directors, and like maybe Janot Shorts was like the most professional director in the world. But like, I've never heard anything bad about Roy Schneider except for those two movies. So I think a lot of what it was he just like I don't know if he really liked the whole style of directing where kind of go off the cuff. Like, he liked directors who wanted to work with him more. And even one of the reasons why Richard Dreyfuss did not do this movie, he did The Goodbye Girl, which he ended up winning an Oscar for. And Robert Shaw, his granddaughter, told him a story that Robert Shaw ended up seeing that movie, The Goodbye Girl. And he said, that kid did all right. And that was one of the last movies that he got to see in theaters, Robert Shaw. And the only reason, like, I'm going to go back to Jaws 1 for a little bit. The only reason Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss didn't get along is Robert Shaw was a stage thespian actor, and Richard Dreyfuss was this, Juilliard kid that only acted maybe on stage a few times. And so it was more just like to Robert Shaw. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't on set, but from what I gathered, it was more just like a big older brother, just kind of teasing you, is how kind of I've looked at it a little bit. But yeah, but then I guess when Richard Dreyfuss heard that, he actually cried when he heard that Robert Shaw said that kid did all right. So
he won him over. That's full circle. I like to hear stuff like that. So that's a really nice positive story. And I think that, it's nice that I know they had their arguments, but I think that looking back now, Dreyfuss does respect Robert Shaw. It's one of those things at the time it was a clash in styles, but it's aged really well. I mean, it's aged like fine wine. When I watch Jaws, I really watch it for those two. As great as everything else is, it really is those two that bring that great element to it.
Even Jaws 2, like there are certain things in it that really work well. I mean, one of the things that I love is how Chief Brody is, what is it? He's putting he's putting poison on his bullets,
Yes, yeah.
Is it cyanide or something like that?
I thought it was candle wax when I was a kid. I was always like, why is he putting candle wax on there? And obviously it's not it.
I think it's cyanide or something.
Yeah.
And like, that's like, you're going to shoot cyanide in the ocean? I think we're going to kill more than the sharks there, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have to think, first of all, I want to know where did one of the things I'm curious about. I'm really curious about this. Where did they get the money to build the shark tower? Because I don't think Mayor Vaughn approved that.
No, yeah. And they didn't even know it was there. It was like, oh shit, where is he? Oh, he's on that giant fucking. I like that scene. That it's bluefish. It's bluefish. I love that scene. That's another. It could have been in Jaws 1. It would have been fine. Like, I think it's really good.
And there's actually a book of Jaws 2.
Yes.
That book is weird.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear some of the stuff behind it?
Well, I know that I mentioned before the Ellen Brody and the guy that's not the. I can't think of the other actor's name that's in this.
Yeah, it's the mayor's. I can't think of his name either. It's like the mayor's second hand.
There's a lot of shit in the book with that, and apparently they did film some of it, but it's all deleted scenes. So they pretty much scrapped it out.
Well, I'm not even making this up. Apparently, the Brodies had a pet seal in the book.
Jeez.
That they always had to constantly feed and stuff like that, and but the book, it's one of the most boring books ever.
Wow.
It's books where nothing happens. You almost just want the seal to get eaten because something would happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just,
Eat that seal.
It's like, oh my gosh, just get something happen. Get somebody get eaten, or because literally the book is literally just about Chief Brody's life as a policeman, and the kids are kind of off in the distance. They're like, oh, they're kids. They're just off in the boats. That's the basic of the book. It's just like, this is, my aunt, again, she read it to us, and thank you. I mean, thank you, Aunt Sherry. I've mentioned her before on streams before, but thank you, Aunt Sherry, for reading us such a boring book. I mean, God bless her, but I can't imagine what's going through her head as she's reading this. She was never one to complain, but she sits there. I can imagine, man, this book sucks.
Yeah, no, I could only imagine. I haven't had the pleasure of reading the novelization of Jaws or Jaws 2, but yeah, no,
novelization. It's actually an official book that Peter Benchley signed over somebody else to write it. So,
wow, that's wild.
Novelization.
Because it shows how much Peter Benchley actually gave a shit, even though he cried murder when it fucking came out. The first Jaws, at least.
Then even later on in his career, he basically ripped Jaws off. So
yeah,
with the beat.
It's odd. It's odd, man. In my opinion, it's very fucking odd.
Jaws 2, I mean, it's, I just praise it mainly just because of Roy Scheider. I mean, so.
Yeah, I agree with that. I completely hear where you're coming from. I do think there's good elements to it, but to me, it's a flat sequel. It's not a movie I go back to and watch all that much. It's really not. And, we'll get into the one that I actually do go back and watch just coming up right here. But if you had to rate Jaws 2, would you said 4.5 out of 5?
Yeah.
I would probably go right in the middle. I go 2.5. I think it's average. It's not a bad movie by any means, and it has its moments where it probably is a 4.5 out of 5. But there are also moments where I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe it's one I need to watch more. But every time I watch it, I always feel like there's a little bit something left to be desired, at least for me. But let's see. Maybe if they brought back Chop Top, it would be good. Well, I mean, maybe if they brought somebody else in that was a known filmmaker. Jaws 2, honestly, Poltergeist 2. It's fine, but it's missing that magical. Yeah, no, I could see that. Jaws should have never had a sequel. Yeah, and I agree. I don't think Jaws should have ever been made, but I agree with you where, I'm happy that we do in a lot of ways because it's interesting to see what they did with it. It's just not great.
Maybe what they should do is try to finish All American Massacre.
I know Gideon will pop for that. If Gid's still in the house, he really wants All American Massacre to be finished. I know.
Well, I just want to see how good Tobe Hooper's son is as his director. So, because he's any younger, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I feel like the only thing is they took so long in between that it'd be hard to go back and really finish it now. They probably should just release what they have and just like, I don't know. I feel like that would appease the fans and it would sell. I mean, who wouldn't buy that? Everybody would be like, yo, let's buy this, like at least that's what I think would happen.
Release a box set, like maybe if Shout Factory or, well, not Shout Factory because they're on my shit list, but
they're on my shit list too.
Yeah, some other company besides Shout Factory, Vinegar Syndrome, whatever else is out there. I honestly lose track. Somebody else, some other company release it and release that as a special feature bonus disc or something,
like the Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor. Like this is the bonus. This is the bonus disc, the All American Massacre.
Yeah,
I'd be down with that for sure. But I guess that can take us into our next film. Of course, they took a few years off from making Jaws films, and I believe in 1983 was the next film on our list, and this is Jaws 3D. Yes, directed by Joe Alves. I got to be honest. I'll say this right off the bat. You may laugh at me, but this is my favorite Jaws sequel. I'll say it. That's my favorite Jaws sequel. This is the one I watched the most of the sequels.
No, I mean, for me, I actually do like Jaws 3. I will admit, like, this movie, it does deserve sort of a remaster with the special effects because, there are some shots in it that are like, wow. I mean, I've seen better special effects in some early 1960s slasher movies,
Sure.
But I do like this one quite a bit. I don't like, my only biggest problem in it is I like Dennis Quaid as an actor. I really like Dennis Quaid as an actor, but I don't buy him as the son of Roy Schneider. I actually buy Lance Guest more as the son of Roy Schneider. And I can't put my finger on why. It's just, but like, I do like this, and it has a cool concept. I mean, I know a lot of Jaws fans want to have them, if they do another Jaws movie, do a remake of this but the thing is, SeaWorld will never fund this movie again because it is actually SeaWorld. If you look in the background, I don't officially say it's SeaWorld, but you could see SeaWorld off in the background.
Yes.
So SeaWorld would never fund this again.
No, never.
And if not, maybe about 20 years ago, but now since it's SeaWorld is on PETA's shit list, they will never fund. So thank you, Blackfish. And I'm not defending SeaWorld. What they do to animals is horrible sometimes, but SeaWorld's not what it used to be. So.
No, I agree with you. But you're right. Like, and I would say this right off the bat, I think the reason I like this one as the most out of the sequels, it's the most 80s. Like, I do remember all the characters in this. I like I like Dennis Quaid, of course. I like his girlfriend in it. I like oh my God, she was also in Howard the Duck. What's her damn name?
Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson, beautiful in this movie, absolutely gorgeous.
She looks good in that bikini.
Damn right, that bright blue bikini. This movie, I believe they had like trading cards when it was released. It was the old classic. This was right around the time they did Amityville 3D and Friday the 13th 3D. And this was one of the big 3D reboot revolutions of the early 1980s. And it really does have that charm to it. I think Joe Alves does a good job directing, man. I really do.
I mean, I want to take off my hat for but this one did have some pretty good looking women in this one. So
it did. It really did. Like I remember I like Lou Gossett Jr. I love the guy that comes in like I always called him the crocodile hunter when I was a kid.
That actor. That actor is kind of he did only a few things in the 80s. He kind of quit acting after he was actually one of the choices to play James Bond. Like he was supposed to replace Roger Moore.
Wow.
And he kind of got really butthurt by that he wasn't chosen. So he kind of took small parts here and there.
They went with Timothy Dalton, right?
Right.
I don't know. I would have liked in an alternate world. I would have took him over Timothy. I don't think Timothy Dalton's one of the better Bonds, at least for me.
I mean, he's the closest to the novel, and I'm a huge fan of the books. But like, Timothy Dalton just lacks that thing for James Bond. So
yes, and they didn't make enough with him. Like it's a very short sample size if you compare it to Connery and Moore.
I think I'm not too much. Can't complain about James Bond didn't do too many movies because my favorite is George Lazenby. So.
Oh shit! Okay, so yeah, exactly. But I definitely, I don't know. I would have maybe in an alternate world liked to have seen this guy. But again, you remember all the characters. There are there some hilariously bad things in this? Absolutely. The scene where they're Leah Thompson and Michael or is it Sean Brody? Sean Brody. They're in the water. He got him in the water. I love that. And then at the same time, there's these two idiots on a raft that get killed by Jaws, and all their ADR is fucked up. Like they're talking to each other, and you clearly tell that it's not them. It's great, man. I love that.
Yeah. But hey, if Layla Thompson, even now at almost, she's 62 years old, I believe now.
Wow.
Even now, if she wanted to go into the water with me, and she can still rock that blue bikini, I'm gonna have to apologize to your husband because I'm gonna go in the water with your wife. So
oh shit! I know her daughter is really beautiful too, Zoe Deutsch.
Exactly like her.
Yeah, exactly like a blonde version of her. I saw she was in, oh god, was it Zombieland 2? She was in.
Yeah, she was.
I saw her in that, just like her. I mean, like a mirror image. Beautiful, beautiful girl. Yeah. I think this movie though, I like the setting. I like some of the kills in it. I like the usage of the dolphins, where the scene where Jaws is chasing them and they hold on to the dolphins. And I like that they use the musical score. They didn't just rip off John Williams. It's like it's its own
score.
I like that, and I don't know. I like the whole idea of the water ski, and it's a show, so there's so many more bodies. I like the idea of the shark's baby being put there and it dies because it's not properly taken care of, and then Mama Jaws comes to revenge. I don't know. I like some of the elements.
Yeah. What I like about this is it's like an 80s Jurassic Park in a way. So
Jurassic World. Yeah. This is the movie Jurassic World is really ripping off in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah. Which, I mean, I'm maybe blasphemy, but I actually think this is better than Jurassic World.
Me too. No, I agree with you.
I mean, because Jurassic World, I mean, I will admit, a lot of my stuff I don't like is just nitpicking. But, going into on a little Jurassic World tangent, one of the things I just don't like, the little rolling ball things where you could get to see the dinosaurs up close, and, there's crack on them, okay? Who's to say that some drunk guy, I'm going to ride these balls. Ooh, dinosaurs. And then sit there and play pinball with the Londex or the T-Rex. And so, because how we all know how people are. Some idiot is going to do that. He's going to be on the 5 o'clock news. And if I hear that on the news, I'm not going to feel sorry for the guy. I'm sorry you died, but you were so.
Yeah, no.
And the hologram dinosaurs. Like, why would I want to see holograms of dinosaurs when I can see real dinosaurs?
Exactly. Like, what the fuck? They do a hologram of the Dilophosaurus, the venom spitting guy. I'm like, why wasn't the Dilophosaurus in the fucking movie? Like, I haven't seen that since Jurassic Park 1.
This is the reason why, because I guess that was a fake dinosaur, and they didn't want to piss off real dinosaur fans.
Then don't have it in the movie at all. Don't cock tease me with a hologram.
But yeah, I mean, I do like Jaws 3D, and like, this is one of those movies that, like, if one of those companies is never going to be releasing the Jaws movies on special edition DVD. No. It's just not going to happen, because the first one would cost too much money for those people to afford, and then they just piss off so many people. But Shout Factory or Vinegar Syndrome or one of those people, at least get the rights to Jaws 3D and try to find some way to remaster the special effects to make them look maybe somewhat more decent. I am not one to complain about special effects, because, a movie's only limited to its budget and everything else. Yeah. But some of the 3D shots and we all know which one I'm probably thinking of. The one where the shark is just like, it's like a zeppelin just sitting there. It is. I'm gonna just say it's 80s. It's good 80s cheese. There.
Yes, it really is. That's why this movie stands out. It's 80s cheese. It's like, okay, if you compare it to Jaws 1, it's apples and oranges. It's not. It's Jaws 2. I compare to Jaws 1 just because of Brody, and it was made shortly after. It looks the same in a lot of the ways. This looks completely different. I like the setting change. I like the score change. I like the body count. I don't know. There's something about this movie that I always like. I liked the close the gate before the shark gets in and stuff like that. It's the shark swims backwards, and I don't know, the bumper boats, and Leia Thompson falls off and takes a big bite out of her leg, and oh my God, I would take a big bite out of her leg too. But it's just fucking, it's wild. Like, I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Well, the thing is, like, comparing this is not like to the first movie. Is not like apples and oranges. This is like comparing apples and a pickle or something. Just,
yeah.
Because
not even fruit anymore.
Well, yeah, no, you're not even like you might as well be comparing an apple to like a big delicious double-decker bacon cheeseburger with everything on it.
Hell yeah.
So like you're like, well, let's see. Do I have the apple or that burger? I'm gonna take the burger, but like, this is just like this movie is just like a snack. Like, I'll take that apple.
Yes,
I mean,
this is the Jaws movie equivalent to fast food, and then Jaws 1 is like a 5-course dinner. But to me, it's like Jaws 2. I would consider like a 2 or 3-course dinner.
I would consider Jaws like one of those, like, I'm pretty sure they have these where you're at, but like sometimes we have these restaurants in Kansas where the burger is like a $20 burger, and that comes with your fries and your meal. So if I'm going to get a burger that's $20, that better be the most delicious burger ever. That's Jaws. This is just like probably a Burger King, I would say.
The value menu at fucking Wendy's or something.
Right.
Like something like that. I don't know though, man. I think this is the most fun Jaws sequel. I think it's the most memorable when it comes to characters. I like the direction from Joe Alves. I know a lot of people shit on him, and he never made a feature film again from a director standpoint. He did a lot of second unit, but dare I say, he deserved more jobs.
Exactly. Like, I would have loved to have seen, maybe like, he does a good job for a first-time director and directed a sequel at that.
Yeah.
Like, I wish he would have gotten more opportunities. Like, I think he has passed away now, so
rest in peace.
I think he's passed away now. I'm actually not quite sure on that. Like, but if not, he's up there. Like, I would love to see him direct again, but who's to say if it could even top this? Maybe it's kind of good that he only got. We're just blessed with this movie, so.
Yeah, and I look back on this film with smiles. Like, I know a lot of people get up in arms about this movie, but like, in a world where we remember Amity 3D as a stupid movie that, whatever, it's not the worst Amity movie by a mile, I don't. A lot of people will tell you. Some people tell you this is the worst Jaws movie, and I think that's blasphemy, personally.
No. I mean, and spoiler for my Jaws the Revenge stuff. Jaws the Revenge, it's a bad movie, but I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. I mean, I've seen far worse than Jaws the Revenge.
Yeah, but I would say this is a better movie than Jaws the Revenge. Like, I don't.
It's a better movie, but like that's what I'm more saying that and I mean, I do like this one. Like honestly, like next to Friday the 13th 3D, out of all the 3D sequels they made in the 80s and some of the ones they made in the 90s, this is probably probably one of the better ones. So
Sure, definitely.
Because Friday the 13th 3D, then probably this one, and then at that point, like good luck picking your list. So
it's funny. I look at this a lot. Like I did a Jurassic Park stream not too long ago. I think the first one's untouchable. Where I think the second one is kind of flat, The Lost World, and then Jurassic Park 3 was the one I had the most fun with. It's almost the same exact thing with the Jaws movies here. Like I think Jaws 2 is a little flat, but I would say Jaws 3 I have way more fun. Even though both Jurassic Park, The Lost World, and Jaws 2 were probably made by better filmmakers. Of course, Spielberg with Jurassic Park 2, and then Jeanette Swar. But I don't know. I don't discredit Jaws 3D. Also, Joe Alves is still alive. That's what Aiden told us. So okay. He's still alive. So awesome to hear. That's good news. Well, Jaws 3D sucks. Jaws 3 sucks. Seems like people don't like it. 0 out of 10. Wow.
Well, he's getting better. Joe is getting older. So hold on. He's still alive.
Thankfully.
Because with our luck, he would die tomorrow or something, so.
Jeez, I hope not. No, the weirdest thing, I did that exploitation show where I talked about Schoolgirls in Chains, Bloodsucking Priest. The director of Schoolgirls in Chains died the next week. I was like, holy shit. So,
yeah, so.
Peace, man. I was like heartbroken. Don Jones, may he rest in peace.
Hey, Rocky, you better knock on wood too, so or something.
I'll knock on wood. I have a wood stool right in front of me, so I knock on wood. May Joel Owls live a very long, healthy rest of his life because I really like his. I would love to see an interview with Joe Alves today.
I would too. But that's the thing is, like, I honestly would be genuinely curious because, like, we have documentaries about Jaws 2, and we have plenty of documentary about the first one. I honestly would love to see a documentary about Jaws 3D.
There's like a making of featurette that's out there, but I've never seen like a years later like get Leah Thompson. And I know Dennis Quaid hates the film. He claims he doesn't even know which one he was in. That's how much he cares about it.
I don't blame that more on him not remember. Probably because he was high on cocaine when he was making this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he made the joke that they paid him in cocaine to make this movie. Like, he did not even get paid for this movie. They just paid him cocaine, which I can't say for sure if that's true or not. But I mean, it was the 80s. Maybe he was paid in cocaine. Maybe it just was just so high on cocaine that that's what he thinks he got paid in.
If John Larroquette was paid in a joint for Texas Chainsaw, maybe Dennis Quaid was paid in cocaine for Jaws 3D. Who knows?
I mean, well, Texas Chainsaw. I mean, I mean, to be fair, like Texas Chainsaw was more of a, I mean, it was funded by the mafia, so
Yeah, it was far lesser budgeted too, but I don't know. I don't think he's bad in this though. I really like him and his relationship, and I like the Dolphins. I don't know. There's something about this that has more of a heart than the second film.
Dolphins in it. Dolphins are awesome. So
yeah,
I mean, any movie that has dolphins in it, it's just something about it. I don't know. Like, I mean, any movie that has Flipper in it is awesome. So,
yeah, no, I agree completely. If you had to rank Jaws 3D, what would you rank it out of 5?
I would probably. I mean, since I look at it more. I'm more doing a fun rating with this one because this is not like a. I look at this more of like a A- movie. So like, it's not like a A+ movie. So like, I would say about 5.5 actually. So, because I do enjoy it. It's fun. It's not meant to be. I don't think the movie is meant to take itself too seriously. So.
Yeah, like if I had to rate this out of 5, I would say like a 3 out of 5. It's a pass for me. I'd watch it more than I watch Jaws 2, and it's to me the most fun Jaws sequel. Definitely the one I go back to the most. And I know they did release a 3D version of it. I wish they would release a 3D version of it that's like watchable, because I know you need a Blu-ray 3D TV to watch the 3D version of this, which I don't even think they make them anymore. So that's a shame. I wish they'd come out with a version where you could watch it in 3D without the hassle.
Honestly, just either that or do a special edition of it and try to remaster the special effects as best you can. So
sure, I would rather them take the money to do that than to make another like bullshit The Meg or whatever, like movie like that. Like that's just me.
Well, I'm a huge fan of the book series The Meg, and I thought The Meg kind of sucked. So
I thought The Meg sucked too. So I don't know. Devin says I don't even agree a little bit. This movie sucked. So I don't know. I know a lot of people will tell you Jaws 3 is way worse, is the worst one of the series. I just don't see that. To me, Jaws the Revenge is the worst. And I guess that's the perfect segue into Jaws 4, The Revenge from 1987 and director Joseph Sargent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I watched this a couple nights ago. I don't know. This is my least favorite Jaws movie. But you say that you don't hate it as much as Mo, so please do tell.
Well, it is a bad movie, but like Lance Guest, to me, like I said, I buy him more as the son of Roy Schneider than Dennis Quaid. And I can't even put my finger on why. Like it could just be whether his presence, the way he acts, or something, you know. It's just something about Lance Guest. I think Lance Guest kind of saves the movie in a way.
I like Mario Van Peebles too, for what it's worth.
Well, see, a lot of people don't like him. I actually do like him.
Me too. Yeah.
And like they say, oh my gosh, the Jamaican accent's bad. Like the Jamaican accent is, and I mean, it's kind of funny. We went to Jamaica. I'm wearing a Bob Marley shirt, but
yeah.
But the Jamaican accent is just as good as, you know, Cool Running.
Yeah, or Terry Alexander in Day of the Dead.
Exactly. So I mean, come on, a Jamaican accent's pretty easy to do. I mean, yeah, man. What? Sanka, you dead? You know, I mean,
we're gonna look up the snails, man.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, so, I mean, it's. I mean, you know, and I also do want to say, you know, before you even can really get into this movie, I do want to say rest in peace to Judith Barcy, the little girl in this movie. She passed away. She didn't even get to see this movie be finished. So.
That's horrible.
Well, she was the voice of Ducky in Land Before Time.
Oh my God, I love The Land Before Time.
Yeah, well, I just want to say fuck her father, because he was a piece of shit, and it was sort of a Chris Benoit story with what happened to them, and
holy shit,
it was not, you know, not caused by medical conditions with that. He was just, honestly, he was just a piece of shit and jealous by her career. So I don't want to make this a somber part, but I just want to say rest in peace to Judith Barcy. So
rest in peace.
Yes, and I hope you made it to heaven, and your father is rotting in hell.
I agree.
So, I mean, I do like this movie does have a lot of flaws. Like, honestly, if you're going to talk enjoyment level, I would rate this pretty high. But if you're talking like movie level, I gotta say this is the lowest one. But I'm saying more enjoyment level, it would go high, because they even say in the movie, sharks cannot go in warm water. They don't like it. So there are no sharks in the Bahamas. At least as far as I know, maybe with the conditions of, you know, supposedly global warming and stuff, maybe there are sharks in the Bahamas. I don't know now, but but like, I think if they actually did go with their original concept based on the original script, the voodoo shark angle, like, it would have been far different. But I think if executed right, it could have been fun. You know, sort of like, I guess the best thing to compare it to is no Friday the 13th movie before it had, you know, any like stuff in it, like with with Tina.
Yeah.
So maybe if they kind of went that route with it, maybe it could have worked if they went with the voodoo angle. You know, like if they don't take it too seriously.
I think, like I said this the other night when I was watching it, like if you had just had this movie be Lance Guest and Mario Van Peebles, and even you didn't even have to have Lance Guest be the Brody, like it wouldn't have even had to be mentioned that he was Brody's son. If you want to mention, that's fine. To me, if you made it a buddy movie about them and they're looking and they find the shark and then it's just them and maybe somehow Michael Caine gets thrown at, maybe Michael Caine's their boss. Maybe that would have worked better than this.
Maybe.
I think I see a movie that if that was the plot.
Maybe have Michael Caine like play the Quint character. That could be fun.
Yeah, or something. Yes, anything like that. Like trying to, hey, this is our new 3. Trying to recapture the magic. It would fall flat, but I don't think it would fall as flat as Jaws: The Revenge actually does. To me, the problem, it's a couple things. Number one, and people probably wouldn't put this in number one, but I will. Lorraine Gary, I think, is terrible in this movie.
Well, I mean. You know, yeah, she's a terrible actress. I mean, she was not even an actress. You know, she was not even an actress, really.
She was married to somebody in the business, right? Like the president of something. I believe that's how she got the job.
Yeah, she was married to the head of Universal.
Yes.
So and now, then I think at this point they actually weren't getting along. I think they married until I think they're still married, or maybe one of them died. But I know at this point they weren't getting along, but they because or something. But she hadn't acted in 9 years, and you can tell because her acting is very stiff in this movie. That's one of the reasons why, like, you know, I'm the guy who I said that, you know, like we, you know, like in Friday the 13th movies, we want these certain actresses to return, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of them haven't acted in like 5 years, and if you don't study the craft of acting, you're going to suck.
Yeah, you're going to be rusty. And like, that's the thing. I don't know if any of those actresses came back, if they're going to be as good as they were before, because they're certainly not as youthful. But with Lorraine Gary, she was very minor roles in Jaws 1, Jaws 2. She worked for what she had to do. Carrying a film, completely different story. And it shows. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
And, you know, I'm going to say this, you know, she was, you know, pretty good looking in, you know, these and in the first 2 movies, but this looks like she aged about like 20 years. Like she looks a lot older.
She looks like she aged 20 years in the 9 years, and this will sound mean, but it's the truth. She looks sort of cross-eyed to me in this movie. Like, I don't know, but
I get
you know how
mean.
Shawn Michaels looks now? She looks exactly like that. Like one of her eyes is turned in, and it's weird to watch her. Like I don't know, man. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, no, I get what you mean, and like, I know it's gonna sound like a kind of dog it up, but because I enjoy it as a bad movie, that's kind of how I look at it. Because I've seen far worse movies than Jaws: The Revenge. I mean, so you know, I'm one of those people that if I enjoy one certain aspect of a movie, I could still get enjoyment out of the movie. And I really do like Lance Guest. I actually do like Mario Van Peebles, like, you know, because they're having fun, you know, I mean, and, you know, I got to say that, you know, when I was actually a kid, like, I watched all the Jaws movies, like, and everything. This was actually, like, the scene where they actually kill Sean Brody, and on a side note, before I mention this, does anybody ever think that the actor got to play Sean Brody looks like a Michael J. Fox clone?
Totally. Absolutely.
Like at first, I literally thought, oh, they got Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox to do a cameo and die.
Yeah, but like,
it would have been crazy.
But when they actually killed him, like, I remember as a kid, like, it makes you kind of jump a little bit. Like, you do get vibes from the first movie with that certain shot, you know?
It's weird because they try to do the Black Christmas route where they're singing like that song. Like, I don't even know if it's Ode to Joy or I don't remember what song they're singing, but they're singing that song just like in Black Christmas when, you know, Olivia Hussey answers the door and they kill Margot Kidder. It's that same song. And they play it and it's quiet. And then Jaws jumps out of the water. I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you watch that shot closely, there's already blood in the water before Jaws jump. But you see Jaws' mouth and there's all blood already. And I was always like, what the fuck? Like, did this motherfucker start bleeding before? Like, just absolutely weird. But it is an interesting opening kill. But the problem is too, Ty, this is called Jaws the Revenge. So on paper, I'm thinking body count movie. Okay, if for anything else, at least there'll be a ton of death scenes in this. There's 2 death scenes in this entire movie, and one of them happens the first 5 minutes. What kind of a revenge is that? Like, what? Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. If they actually, like, if they went the voodoo route with it, it would have been stupid. But if executed right, like if they got some, like some young, hungry filmmaker, and just go all out, have fun, and go with the voodoo angles. I'm gonna use, I'm using the New Bloods as an example, because that's the best that I could think of, because that was a totally new, different direction for the franchise for Friday the 13th. Because who would have thought that would have worked on paper,
No, never.
So, but if they went with the voodoo angle and everything, I think we'd be looking at this movie a lot differently. Maybe some people would hate it, but maybe some people would be like, okay, at least they went totally different. And I think it could have worked if they went the voodoo angle. But please change the name of the voodoo guy, because in the book, the voodoo guy's name was Papa Shark. I get it, Papa's like,
Papa Shango, Papa Shark. Gotta love it.
I mean, so yeah, if they would have went that route with it, I think it could have worked. But I mean, honestly, like if I was gonna rate it, I would probably say 4 stars just for enjoyment level. But if I'm rating honestly on a movie and like not an enjoyment level, it would probably be at least a 3. So I'm kind of like right there with it. So
I would go way lower, man. I probably go like a 1 out of 5 for me. Like, I think this is a piece of shit movie. Like, I really do think a good movie could have been made. Like I said, if they just did Van Peebles and Guest and then eventually ran into Michael Caine and had a revenge where, holy shit, 25 people die in this movie. Crazy body count, crazy gore, crazy practical makeup effects, which is what was going on in the late 80s. I mean, 1987, practical effects, I mean, they probably reached the all-time pinnacle and peak in 1985. 2 years later, we could have done so many cool shark effects.
The thing is, I know Joseph Sargent is a very good director. I mean, he directed some of the later Tarzan movies that, from the 1930s in that series. He's a good director. But maybe I honestly think that maybe he was just the wrong choice to direct.
It's possible, and I watched interviews with him for prep for this, and he said that the main reason they wanted to make this movie, and you won't even believe this, I don't know if you've seen the interview, the main reason they wanted to make this movie is because they wanted them to kill the shark in a different way. That was what they presented him with. They were like, we were hiring you to direct, kill the shark in a different way. And the rest was really up to them, and that's where you get the whole, vengeful shark swimming from the fucking east coast of the Bahamas, which is one of the stupidest things in the history of bad movies.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, that's a bad reason to go in. And number 2, the way the shark dies in this movie, you're like, what even happened? Like, they hit him with the boat and explodes.
There's like 3 different endings to how the shark dies. Like, he gets stabbed by the boat. There's like one cut where the shark just, like, you don't even know what happened. Like, all of a sudden the boat is sinking. And then there's one shark where the shark just randomly explodes because he gets stabbed. Like, how does that work?
I don't know. And that's, to me, if that was the whole reason, I think they would have gotten that right. And even then, it's like, she's having a flashback and then it cuts like very sporadically back and it's over. And you're just like, if that's not anticlimactic, I don't know what is.
Yeah. And then Mario Van Peebles. Jake
survives.
Jake is the only character that I know of that has been eaten by Jaws and lived. I mean, his legs are probably gone, and I don't know if he could even still piss or poop, but I mean, Like,
Yeah, like they have all the lines with him and Lance Guest, like "Don't go do anything stupid and die on me, buddy." And they're I like them together, I really do.
no.
And then they keep cutting back to Lorraine Gary and fucking Michael Caine, and I'm just like, this bullshit shouldn't have been anywhere in here. Like maybe Michael Caine should have been eaten, and then just similar, harken back to the original film.
Did you notice this? Michael Caine, he is soaking wet.
Yeah.
Soaking wet, and then he comes out of the water like his clothes have been like he just stepped into a dryer.
He comes out of the water dry as a bone, bro. It's actually the funniest thing ever.
How does that work? Like I want to give this movie to a scientist or something, like a water expert. How does that work?
Explain this. Oh, editing, but like also a funny thing with Michael Caine on this movie too, which I always thought was amazing. He was making this while he was nominated for an Oscar, and he ended up winning said Oscar and could not be there to accept because he was filming Jaws: The Revenge. And that's the only Oscar he ever won.
Mm-hmm. But I loved what he said though after the movie. I haven't seen the movie. I've heard it's bad, but I have seen the house it bought, and it's
nice. Yeah, the patio or something like that. I've seen that, and it's fantastic.
No, he bought a house with this movie.
A house, wow.
And
I guess that's a fair trade.
And then he said, though, it was a nice vacation to go to the Bahamas. So,
hey, yeah, no, and hey, he's probably easily the best actor in this movie. And I like Lance Guest.
No. I mean, he comes from that generation of Robert Shaw, British actors who were actors.
Yeah, and he to this day does fantastic work. He's just a great veteran actor. It's just weird to see him in this movie. I don't know. I really do think you could have made a good movie around this. And I don't even know if Joseph Sargent was the worst person in the world, but I don't know. I think just the whole plot and the fact of you call it Jaws: The Revenge and there's no revenge. It's bullshit.
I honestly think that if they would have got Joseph Sargent, I think was the wrong choice. If they would have gotten a young, hungry director, I can't even think of anybody at this time.
Imagine, here's one, and I know you're a big fan. Imagine they got Savini and said, make as many crazy practical kills as you want, make a buddy film, here's the fucking director's chair. Because he would go on a few years later to do Night of the Living Dead 90, and this was after his magnum opus with special effects, in my opinion, with Day of the Dead. Imagine they gave this to Tom Savini and said, hey, run wild with it. And I think Tom Savini would have hit it out of the park.
Tom Savini would have been good, because his Night of the Living Dead is honestly one of the most underrated horror movies.
Yeah, it's a great remake.
And I've seen, he did a few other things, I've seen it. He's a very good director. So if they would have given it to Tom Savini, yeah.
I would have liked to see it personally. I don't know. I definitely think it would have been interesting. But yeah, so that is Jaws: The Revenge. I'm not a fan. Think it's a pretty bad film, but I guess we could talk briefly. Number one, well, I guess we could talk. We mentioned Cruel Jaws, which is the unofficial Jaws 5, and all this shit going on with Severin Films right now, and the Jaws 5 lawsuits and being pulled. And if you look on eBay, Jaws 5 is going for about $160 to $200. Don't spend your money on it. Please don't.
No, don't. For those of you who think Jaws: The Revenge is a zero movie, even people who think that Jaws 3D is a zero movie, go watch Cruel Jaws.
Yeah. It's Hulkamania Jaws.
No, fake Hulkamania Jaws.
Yes.
Because I'll briefly mention it, and look, we're not even going to discuss this movie. I'm just going to briefly mention it. If you want to see a movie with a Hulk Hogan impersonator, they couldn't even afford Hulk Hogan to do an Italian Jaws sequel ripoff. So they hired a Hulk Hogan impersonator. I think they also even hired a Billy Zane impersonator.
Yes, they did.
And then some other impersonator. Some other actor who looks like another actor. And then during the death scene, they play the Ice Cream Man music that you see in ice cream trucks. When when they're talking about how his little girl can't swim anymore. because she's in a wheelchair. They play ice cream music, like I can't do the do. I mean, this people. This is what some people I swear think Jaws the Revenge is like. Like I can get enjoyment out of Jaws the Revenge, but this is. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, what was this director doing?
I see. Funny, Cruel Jaws. I can get the dumb enjoyment out of over.
No, I get dumb enjoyment out of it too, but like dumb, like bad dumb enjoyment. Like
yes, it's not a good film, and they use a ton of stock footage, and
yes, I mean
it's unbelievable that people are paying the money they're paying for Cruel Jaws. I recommend just watch it on fucking Tubi if you're ever going to watch it, but I would not spend the $200 just for the slip cover that says Jaws 5. Don't do it.
$200 for that movie.
Fuck yeah, that's crazy. They release all these accessories with it too, with like they did a Hulkamania, but it says Cruel Jaws on it, and it's like a red and yellow for your toilet cover. I shit you not, it exists, dude. I shit you not. Like, and people buy it. They pay top dollar, bro. I'm gonna get the Severin bundle. Like, what the fuck? What do you need to?
Not even Jaws. Cruel Jaws is not even worth 2 pennies.
No, it's not.
I mean, maybe it's worth about 2 of what I can do in the toilet, but
maybe, and then cover it over with Hulkamania or fake Hulkamania. It's wild. That's considered the unofficial, Jaws 5. So I figured it was worth mentioning. I didn't want to get into the movie though. Yeah. What would you do though, Tyjoonbug, with a Jaws 5? You're handed a Jaws 5, the directing job. What are you doing with it?
Well, first of all, I would get Lance Guest back because Dennis Quaid's not going to come back.
No.
And no matter how, even if you paid him a lot of money, I just don't think he would do it, But I would get Lance Guest back, and probably, I would honestly, I do like this new trend that they're doing in Hollywood. This is one thing I will praise, like Jurassic World, Creed, sort of making new franchises out of existing franchises. So I would just say call it Amity Island. And then but basically make it where Lance Guest and a shark hunter, but the shark hunter is more the lead than Lance Guest, since Lance Guest is not a big name. Like let's just say they got Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin as the Quint-like character, and just kind of try to find
frozen. You good? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, froze for a sec.
I did?
Yes.
Okay. Did everybody catch what I said or not?
I didn't catch what you said. I don't know if the people in the chat did. I heard you say Josh Brolin and then you froze.
Okay, I would get like Josh Brolin as a Quint-like character. Not necessarily Quint, but like a shark hunter. And like that, I'm just using Josh as an example, and I'm not saying get Josh Brolin, but like a bigger name to draw people in. And then like you kind of just try to find some way, like I think all you really need for a good Jaws movie is just 3 actors who have chemistry together.
Yes.
You just need 3 actors who have that chemistry together. So basically, Lance Guest, and you audition actor. You're gonna have to audition people. Even if they don't want to audition, then you say sorry, buddy. You're gonna, because I think Lance Guest and maybe Mario Van Peebles too, because maybe since they'd be cheaper, it could kind of salvage Jaws the Revenge a little bit.
Do you imagine him coming back? That would be so funny.
Yeah, and like you basically try to audition people to play the shark hunter character, but you kind of make Lance Guest and Mario Van Peebles as side characters. But and you just audition people, or just ask them to do a simple reading. Like, hey, we're just doing a chemistry test, because in order to make a good Jaws sequel, you have to have 3 people that have really good chemistry. And then basically then what I would do is they don't even capture a shark in this one. It's a megalodon. So.
Okay, fair enough. Sounds a lot better than the Meg movie that they made. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I would do either. I agree with you when you say you just need 3 really good actors that have good chemistry, because that's why the original Jaws works, and that's why it's better than any of the sequels. I do. Part of me, if it was handed to me, I would say, let's just not do CGI. Let's do a practical
Exactly.
shark again. No matter how long it takes us, no matter how much bullshit we go through, let's do a practical shark again and see if we can make it work in modern day. And I would try to take, things that make the original film work, like the death scenes and stuff like that, and leaving a lot of it up to your imagination. The John Williams score. But again, I would try to do something like Jaws 3. Try a different score. Don't just rip off the same, like a big thing Alan Howarth always does with the Halloween movies. It's, we'll play the Halloween theme, but on a guitar. We'll play it on a, it's like, what are you just going to do? Change the instrument and play the same thing? Like, to me, it's, let's shake it up a little bit, and that's what I would do.
Hire like at that point, just like go out with it, like hire like I'm not necessarily saying like get him, but like hire like a doom metal band or something to do.
Sure.
I'd
be all for that. Like, I don't know. I think it would be tough to do, but it would be interesting. I don't even know if I would go with the Brodies. I would probably try to just stay away from that after Jaws: The Revenge. Like, I think I would actually be like, after that, I don't see how to go back to that well.
To go, I mean, PETA would come after you like a PETA would come after you, but I think the angle you have to go is you have to go with the lead is a shark hunter.
Yeah, or I mean, maybe if you wanted to connect it to the other movies, maybe it's the son of Robert Shaw. Or granted, I still wouldn't do that because I feel like that's just,
I mean, there are so many other fishermen on Amity Island because it's a fishing town. You could just say his family's a fishing family, and then like have people make fan theories. Oh, this is the son of Quint, but then you never say if he is or not.
Yes. Let the people decide that. Don't fucking come out and tell them. I agree with that. I would do the same thing.
And then if people ask you in a Q&A, hey, is this supposed to be the son of Quint? You sit there and say, do you think he is? And I say yes. Said then he is. And then they say like, do you think he is? No, then he's not.
David Lyncham just be like, oh, well, can you tell us anything? No. He's just completely just cold shoulders them. Like,
I'm more like to call it like trolling the audience a little bit, So.
Well, yeah, you have to. I mean, if you're a creator and you want to leave stuff up like to people's imaginations, I don't see why not do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Joseph Sargent also directed the cult favorites Nightmares. That's a really good one. I always remember the one with Emilio Estevez playing the video game. That's a great one. Jaws: The Revenge is the GOAT. Of course, Corey trolling. I'm going to watch Cruel Jaws out of spite. And then, okay, he must have heard what you said. I don't know. Maybe I'll listen for a minute. But that is the Jaws retrospective. We went all, each and every single Jaws film. This was fun to have you on, Ty. Is there anything else you wanted to mention on here?
Not really.
No. Well, I do thank you very much for coming on, being my guest. This was a very, very fun show. So thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I joined it again. So
absolutely, you're more than welcome to come on whenever the heck you want. You say the word. I'm thinking of definitely putting a video together in October that I could mention to you after we go off the air here. If you're interested, let me know. But that is going to be all for the Graveyard this week. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. This was a really, really fun show. And we will catch you next week. Not sure what the topic's going to be yet. I have quite a few options. The schedule is coming together for the next couple months. But it will be September. We're knocking on October's door soon. So it's going to be very fun. But Ty, thank you once again so much. Everybody else, we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet. Peace. And we will catch you next time.